Hello, welcome to another
One job.
One damn job. G'day, welcome to another episode of Xbox Infinite. If I sound a little bit weird today, it is because I'm crook as a dog, but I'll try and keep the energy up for the show because this is a very special Christmas Eve show. We have one third of, how many of you are there now? We have 1/3 of the amazing Game On Daily crew. Gaz, welcome to the show. It's been a long time coming. Should be an interesting day.
Yeah! How you doing, people? I'm going to be more annoying now that I'm a pony.
How's your week been, man? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for the invite. The week's been pretty busy because Christmas and work has just finally finished. So now I'm ready and go on social media and there's a little shitstorm of angry bots and I'm loving it. So I'm masturbating constantly. That's what I'm doing I'm doing it right now.
Yes, I'm.
Oh, whoa.
Wow! See, now we're back to the whole, a guy can say that.
Anyway, that kind of threw me off a little bit. DoomCutie, if you can just take your hand off it for like 30 seconds. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? How's things?
You know I can't do that around you.
Not while I'm watching anyway, but yeah.
Oh, fuck. I can't talk. I've been raiding on World of Warcraft, not gonna lie. Yep. Master Race PC, let's go. Although I did jump on Forza this week as well, but I haven't checked out anything particularly new. I've been having a great time regardless. But it's a busy week for everyone. It's a busy week for Christmas. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, chat. Merry Christmas, Gaz. Thanks for being here. Love it. Love that you're here. Love that.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. You said 2024. We got an early Christmas present, so a little bit stoked. Love having you on. JediKnightPete, how's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? I heard you playing Halo the other day. I mean, how did that go?
Yeah, we were playing Halo campaign because Mac hasn't gone through it with Hargeet as well. A lot of fun. That game is so much fun in co-op. I love the campaign. I've been going through the winter contingency event to get my Santa hat, because it's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. We're doing a Christmas giveaway later on this show, so more information about that. Playing a little bit of High on Life, playing Diablo 2. I got Diablo 2 for a crazy good price, so, there's something like 6 or 7 people that have been playing that with us. Looking forward to this. Gaz, welcome to the show, mate. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Christmas to all. I'm a bit of a Grinch. Spa humbug to Christmas. Umbra.
Nice.
How you doing? Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Xbox Infinite. What have you been up to? What have you been playing? How's your week been? I heard you acquired something extremely tasty.
I did. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, though. We'll see. I'm going to judge that. I'm going to order those penguins, too, to test them out. But I will agree with Bushido with this whole biscuit versus cookie thing. It's kind of weird for us American, people. But we did.
That sounds like a you problem, Umbra.
I suppose.
But a biscuit's not toast, right? You can't be calling
toast. No, we have bread. Yeah, it's bread over here. It's dough.
That's weird.
When I hear a biscuit, I'm thinking of Popeyes. I'm like, wait a minute, am I going to choke? I need some water or something to drink with it. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, though, no, I've been playing. I've been playing Diablo 2 with the fellas and being frustrated because our party leader, who's supposed to know what he's doing, had told us nothing, and me and Pete had to do most of it by ourselves and struggle while they ran off and tried to attack all the enemies by themselves, getting us all killed. That we do. 2 lone wolves, and it's terrible. But we're managing. And of course, I'm playing a bit more of High on Life, trying to get that last achievement because I'm an achievement. Other than that, man, nothing much else. Excited to be here tonight to talk with you guys, and happy to have you with us, guys.
Tom.
Thank you, man.
Tom 909's followed me over here with the biscuit wall. Tom, penguins do not have supremacy.
He brought it over here. Hey, by the way, if you all didn't know, Gaz has agreed to sing a Christmas carol with us tonight.
There'll be no singing of Christmas.
Riskit will be the lead singer.
Definitely not.
I'm ready. I'm ready. As long as Riskit leads, I'm ready.
I'm
There we
definitely
go.
not going to
Enjoy
sing,
the
but
end
we
of the
look.
show.
We will move into our first topic. Before we do, guys, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. If you are not, hit the like button. Do both if you're new, actually. That always helps out the channel. As we jump into the first topic, and this is one that I want to talk about, specifically discuss with Gaz and the rest of the panel, but we pretty much know what the rest of the panel thinks. They disagree with me, which makes them wrong. And so, look, I'll just jump into this for the Game Awards. I wanted to have a quick chat about the Game Awards, and I know we've covered it a few times, but I haven't discussed it with Gaz. I just want to give my fully fleshed out take, because I don't think I've been taken the right way here. I've been told I'm damage controlling, which is really not the case. So first of all, just want to lay out, Xbox should have been at the Game Awards. That's 100% completely agree. Completely agree with that. That's undisputable, undeniable. It was a complete misstep that they weren't at the Game Awards. So I'm not at all in any way saying that they shouldn't have been there and that it was fine that they didn't go. What I am saying is it's a little bit more nuanced than I think a lot of people are taking it for, and there's for a lot of reasons.
The nuance?
What's
the nuance there?
What's the nuance? Well, look, I'll explain. So it would have been pretty hard for them to. Now, I know we're going to go into this whole FTC thing and people are going to disagree with that, and that's absolutely fine. I do think it had an effect. I don't think it was the only thing that caused them to not show up at the Game Awards. I definitely think it was a factor. Also, the Game Awards are traditionally a place where you show new games, or if you have shown a sizzle reel or a short CGI trailer, then maybe you show a little bit more of an in-depth gameplay trailer. That's kind of traditionally what the Game Awards is, and I really don't think. I think what they didn't say speaks.
But Xbox has loads of those. There's so many games then that they've already showed sizzle reels or CGI for. They could
Absolutely.
have shown.
Absolutely. But I think what they didn't say and the fact that they didn't show those speaks volumes. I think it says that Hellblade's not ready. I think it says that Avowed's not ready. I definitely know that Perfect Dark's not ready. Fable's not ready. I think we know that the fact that they didn't show up with any gameplay for those games is we know they're not ready. That's what that says to me.
You're going a step further than me. Even I didn't suggest that, but I think I raised the question in Twitter. Go after him. Yes, I mean, that's quite a severe thing to suggest. All of these. Wait. Why do you think they're not ready? Do you think the studio mismanagement, some turmoil going around? Why do you? This is a Riskit interview now, but I just kind of want to know, like, why do you think they're not ready? Should they not be ready? Is your position that?
I don't think. Well, we know about Fable. What we've heard about Fable, rumored to be going on in the background, there is trouble with. And you can understand that. So Fables, they're all very different studios creating different games, and there would be different reasons for why they're not ready. Some probably started late, like Compulsion was building a studio from, almost ground up. Fable basically put on a whole new side studio to build Fable, and then you've got to bring those people into that engine. The Forza tech engine, and it's not an engine that you would teach at school. It's not an engine that people would have experience with unless they had worked at Playground Games or Turn 10. So then you've got to bring people on board with that. What else have we got? Perfect Dark. We know exactly what's going on in the background with the initiative. We know that things weren't going great. It's a small studio. Crystal Dynamics has only been on helping them out, I think, for around about 8 months, 7 or 8 months. There would be a multitude of reasons why, but I just think it speaks volumes as to it's not ready. What they could have shown at the Game Awards, though, is a CGI trailer for what's going on with NXIL and what's going on with Compulsion. They're really the only two ones that I think that they could have shown, because you don't need a gameplay. All you need to do is this is what we're making, this is the name of it, and here's a little CGI trailer for you. And away we go. So in that regard, I think that they should have definitely shown something in that way, a short CGI of what's coming in the future. But they have been burnt by that in the past, and that's kind of the problem. Like, every time they do something, they cop shit for it. So if they show what's coming in the next 12 months, people weren't happy with that. They wanted to see what was coming like further in the future. Prior to that, everyone wanted to see, everyone was like, I don't want to see what's coming in 6 years. I want to see what's coming in the next 12 months. And so they get burnt every time they turn up and do what the community asks.
You can understand both positions. The reason why they're saying we need to see things in the next 12 months is because they bought a console that launched with no exclusives. So they're allowed to do that and say, what's the roadmap look like? just the unique way in which Xbox launched. It had no exclusive, so that fed into the immediacy of wanting something next gen, contrasted with PlayStation that did launch in quick succession exclusives on its console. Cross-gen or otherwise,
Yeah,
it's still
absolutely. And they had to jump early and show us Avowed. They had to show us Avowed. They had to say, this is what we've got coming. It's far out, but this is what we've got coming. But there's a consequence to that, and we're seeing the consequence to that now. There's a consequence to launching a console without exclusives. Tom, penguins suck. There's a consequence to doing that, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing the duality of the community. We're seeing it's almost schizophrenic. The community is like, I want this, so I want this, I want this, I want this. Like, it doesn't seem that they'll be able to play. But I think 100%, I agree that they should have been there. There was no solid reason that's good enough for them to not turn up to the second biggest show in gaming.
Yeah, absolutely should have not. I mean, I've labored this point to death. So I said that, and everyone is almost in unison saying the exact same thing I'm saying, except I'm just a little bit harsher with my words, but so people have taken it some way, but that's been a blessing in itself. Generally, though, gamers are Xbox fans who are honest with themselves will be fed up, but all of this is the next year meme is quite embarrassing at this point, but in fairness, 2023 as a byproduct of these games being delayed this year is going to be quite strong on paper. Now, the problem with on paper with Microsoft is it seems this generation, everything that should have been a surefire hit on paper didn't translate in reality. Like the power narrative, I know you had Ace on, and you were talking about what's happening there with the Xbox Series X. So reality means something different. Xbox acquired all these studios, and we expected a cadence of releases, but now we're like at this phase where we're making excuses, but the time limits run out. 2023 is the year, and you have to show strongly. And it does look like, as far as those delayed, Starfield and Redfall, the delayed games, and Forza, all three games, I have a solid expectation of how they'll deliver. I think Forza will set a massive, I expect 10-10 to set up an example in the racing sphere, because they are magicians. They are supremely talented, and they've earned the benefit of the doubt. Also, I mean, Arcane, Austin, the good thing about them is they are straying away from their formula that they've been so acquainted to. Dishonored and Prey had pretty similar DNA. So this Redfall game seems to be a test for me, observing quite interestingly how well or how tactile that studio is, because that kind of flexibility will help a lot, because Microsoft at the moment is using studios to flex their direct, like, creative side, which is really good with Xbox. But sorry, I'm going into detail here with Redfall. I think that would be solid 84. Like, I know Metacritic is a weird number, but just humor me as for the sake of consensus. 84 Metacritic, so for Redfall. And then you got Starfield, and that's the big one. That's the big one where Xbox's hope is pitted on, because this is the big exclusive, but Xbox fans and the company have been pushing forward and expecting, because come on, this is big. Bethesda Fallout in space. It looks great. The scope could be great, but there are risks with the procedurally generated parts. How will they balance that? And there are lots of questions there, but it's very exciting. Stands to be Xbox's best title in the foreseeable future that will review the best. So a lot of hopes there.
You kind of
those three.
You kind of led into sort of my point of why I copped a lot of flack. I know you're copping a bit of flack at the moment as well, but I also copped a lot of flack about damage controlling, which I wasn't. But my point was, as fans of Xbox, right, we have run a really long, really difficult race, like supporting Xbox, because they have made, and I understand that this reaction is the culmination of so many missteps that they have made along the way. It really is. And I think it's also the culmination of this last year. They've done so many positive things, aside from not releasing any games in 2022, but they've done so many positive things. Everyone's getting positive about the brand. You know, they're looking forward. We're all hopeful. And then they don't turn up to the Game Awards, and everyone's like, what the fuck? I do get it, but I think we've run this race. We've made it to the finish line, and the finish line for me is games. It always has been games. And Microsoft bringing some sort of cadence with their first-party offerings. And as you said, as you're saying, I think that's happening in 2023. And so I just thought to myself, I was a bit upset.
Than that.
But it's a weird time to get on the soapbox about the Game Awards when we're literally at the finish line. No,
I mean, there has to be all these 3 games that we say are incredible. They are supposed to be releasing now, or very soon, 6 months. You have 6 months to release these 3 games. How's that happening? Where's the release date? The details. They're not there, so we need to know that. So we know it's coming based on their last game showcase event. Pronunciation. There it is. This is it. We've committed to this strict deadline that can never fire back at us. But fine, they've that said confidence, because they justified their show based on this 12 months thing. So now I hope the community will be with me in thinking it's quite farcical if you go past that 12 months, because you've just lied in your previous year. And so that's what we've been giving you a bit of benefit of doubt over, because all right, in the next 6 months, they're going to deliver. They have to deliver these 3 great games. So you have to have confidence in them delivering that. And right now, I don't. I'm expecting games to slip past the 6 months. I'd be happy if I'm proven wrong. But let's see, just because of the way things are with Microsoft. So, yeah. Sorry.
So you think
they have to come in?
So you think Starfield will be delayed?
No specific. I'm just thinking they have 6 months. How are they going to pad it out? One of these games might get delayed. Most likely, I understand Starfield is in polishing phase, so should be. I don't know. All these games should be making it. I'm not aware of any reason why I think these games would get delayed, but I'm just thinking, why the aversion to give release dates if the release dates are imminent? Because you want to start marketing it. Then maybe if they are ready, the question goes back to the marketing point. Microsoft's so bad at marketing their games that we don't have any release dates, tangible release dates to be excited about. If they're immediate, because they're 6 months, PlayStation would market their stuff weeks in advance. So, and do you not believe in these games? Starfield is a mega title. You should be blasting that.
Come on, Gaz. Of course they believe in these games. Jeez. I think there's so much going on behind everything that you guys are sitting here thinking that but you think that you know everything that's going on. You comment on the Game Awards like it's they deliberately went about not showing anything. But I
don't believe that. I disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't think you cannot deliberately show nothing, because they deliberately didn't show us anything.
No, there's no way. I don't subscribe to that at all. There's no logical reason for the FTC to block, or you'd be prevented from showing your older stuff, older games that you've announced. It doesn't bolster the FTC's argument whatsoever. They have access to a browser. But sorry, go ahead. Sorry, apologies.
No, that's fine.
But are they using that browser?
My thing on it is this, just to say. And I get what Cutie is saying. We don't know all the intricacies and details. Absolutely, I agree. But we can't absolutely comment on the state of them not showing anything there at the VGAs. To me, it speaks to them not getting the point and not getting the picture. Now, if they do give us a show coming up that's rumored for January or February, yeah, a lot of us will shut up if it's really well done or whatever, when it gives us something to look forward to. Yeah, but we can't ignore that they were just absent at the biggest show of the year. It's you can't do that, in my opinion.
Me and you shared the same feeling, because after that, I saw your comment. You said you're really pissed off, Umbra.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of guys coming at me about that. By the way, had a lot of guys coming at me.
Yeah,
not as much as you though. I haven't been called a secret pony yet, because
I was calling him a secret pony, secretly behind his back. No, but look, I think what this backlash has some utility as well, and I want to go to the panel and just ask, do you guys think that we'll see delays from Starfield and from Redfall and from any of these games? But before I do, I really also wanted to add, I'm a little bit schizophrenic on this whole point myself as well, because the backlash had some utility. I just didn't see that I needed to add to it, because I think think everyone was doing a good enough job of ripping into Xbox as was, and it definitely has utility because I don't think they had a show planned. Now, if they do bring a show, I think it will be purely because of the backlash, and that's a good thing. And as I've said, I mean, I think you've seen me say in comments, Gaz, that it's necessary to be critical of these companies. It's extremely necessary, and I do feel that we should. But I just thought this one was a little bit over. People were overcritical about it. I thought it was like something to jump on your soapbox about this one when we've had an entire.
Surprised? You surprised at people's reaction?
Oh, I wasn't surprised. No, as an entire generation with like really fuck all games, and then we've had an entire year with no games, and everyone just loses it about a show. I was annoyed about the show, but I kind of sat back and I thought, well, the show was actually pretty good. There's a lot of stuff coming from third party. It was a really good show. And
no one is complaining that the show wasn't good, but Riskit. People are complaining that Xbox didn't show anything at the show. At the show where they announced the Xbox Series X just before the Christmas period, getting those Xboxes under Christmas trees. And they were just an absolute no-show. Everybody else came to the party. There was 100 million eyeballs on this.
Hang on a minute. Did PlayStation show a first party?
They don't need to.
Yeah, Death Stranding.
Your own point, they're the market leader. They
second
don't
party,
actually need to. They are the market leader. People are going to buy their stuff regardless. Xbox need to give people a reason to buy an Xbox, to get it put under the Christmas tree, and for them to absolutely have nothing at the show is incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, it's incredibly disappointing. I completely agree with that. I mean, we've been over and over this.
You agree with that?
I do agree with it. I 110% agree with it. I just think the reaction, it was an overreaction. I didn't feel like I needed to react. I didn't feel like I needed to because everyone had. And as I said, there's definitely utility to the reaction because if we get a show, I do believe it's going to be purely. Oh my God, I think Colt just swore. I think it's going to be purely because of the backlash, which is a great thing. And the thing that I took offense to in the community is like, people were saying I was damage controlling. I like the least damage controlling fucking dude on the planet. Like, have you seen me lose my shit about Halo? Like, I've absolutely lost my temper on the show live about Halo because Bonnie Ross was calling out fans. And thank God she's gone. Like, I don't damage control. This is what I thought. And maybe it's wrong and that's cool.
No,
people don't disagree. And that's cool. But like, that's just what I think. I don't change what I think to meet what the community thinks. I don't give a shit. Like, I just think what I think. And that's kind of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
It's got different expectations. The older crowd, who have been repping Xbox, especially through that failed last gen, is, I think, excused for feeling a little bit jaded because we're older. We've been hearing these covenants from Microsoft for a while. The constant inconsistent delivery when the promise of cadence has been marketed and believed in by its fan base, including us. Like, why wouldn't it? Let's just on paper. And again, like, I go back to my previous point, whatever is on paper a surefire thing, Microsoft somehow finds a way to fuck it up. And then like power, like this, like cadence, we're making excuse where you say, okay, now, give developers. By the way, I need to clarify, I'm not asking for crunch. If Microsoft, these studios are delayed, then they're delayed, but we need some transparency about, well, there's something fundamentally wrong there if a multitude of different studios are delayed and when the competitor is delivering. But it's different swings and roundabouts. Like, people, if you're happy with it, you're supremely confident in Xbox, and you've been an older, gamer or content creator who's been covering Xbox One during its time, then I just think you're just going to be more fed up. But I understand the other side. Like, people are upset because they want to look forward to something, and they're pinning their hopes on this iron triangle of games. And I understand that because that delivery, especially Starfield, 100%, especially Starfield, if that delivers, that will go in a long way in changing perceptions, because that will mark a few things: the successful assimilation of a studio that's been acquired, ZeniMax's Bethesda, and showing consistent results and hit the meta score and deliver a kind of game PlayStation cannot deliver. A Western RPG of that detail, if you delivered a Skyrim in space, it would be huge. So they are thinking that way, and I understand that, because absolutely, but my expectation is that still needs to be more, and because the first party uncertainty, and that's the big question mark around it.
That absolutely is. And my question, and I mean, Colt, I agree with you 110%. My question, though, is, and for the panel and yourself, is do you think that they'll now, if they delay Starfield, you will see a completely different tune out of me. If they delay that game, they flat out lied to us. And this is why I don't think that they will do it. They've already seen the reaction from the community from not turning up at the Game Awards. And if they delay, and people have said, well, they didn't give it a release date. Yes, they did. They said the next 12 months. That's 6 months ago. They've got another 6 months to deliver the games that they've shown. And realistically, they haven't delivered any. Well, no, I wouldn't say any of them. They've delivered the smallest amount of them. They've got a long way to go, and they've only got 6 months to do it. So I understand what you're saying about not delivering marketing, not delivering dates. What the hell is going on? Why, should we have faith in them? We've seen them misstep so many times. So I am going to go to the panel, though. Umbra, do you think that we'll see a delay for any of these games, but more specifically, Starfield was the one that gets talked about often, where people think it will release in the back half of the year. And again, as I said, that'll be a flat out lie from Microsoft if they do that. Do you think it's going to happen?
Yeah, honestly, I do. I don't think Starfield is releasing in the first half. I think it's releasing in the second half, probably around November, as they plan to do this year, honestly. And I'll be honest, I'll be annoyed by it, but I won't be mad by it, because I want them to take as much time as they need to get that game to something resembling 30 frames.
Hang on a minute. So you won't, and I hate to jump in, but I have to. You would be mad about the Game Awards, them not turning up, but when they've told you that they're releasing a game in the coming 6 months, the coming 12 months, and they don't do it, you won't be mad about that?
No, because at the time when they should have shown something at the VGAs, they had to install hope, and especially for those who are not Xbox gamers, that's a missed opportunity to grow the brand. And you guys say, well, why would we care about the growing the brand? Because that means they get more money, and more money means they get more games or publishers and things like that they bring, and I get to play. That's why I care. But two, if they said, hey, this game we're going to wait till you, as they always point out, there is no second chance to get a first impression. If you bring out a game like Starfield and it's trash at launch, that is not a good sign for Bethesda or Microsoft going forward, and it's not going to look good because of the past issues that happened with Bethesda and Microsoft and not delivering. So yes, I'd be fine with them delaying it. A delayed game can be great. I mean, well, hell, I mean, even a launch game can be great if it's with errors, but you'll be more forgiving for that's delayed and comes out great. And then that came out early or on time, as they say, I guess, but broken or messed up, right? I mean, we have nothing else to look forward to but Halo, and I love Halo, as you all have seen. If anybody has seen my Twitter, over 470 hours. I think it's more than that, to be fair, but because I think there's a little error on True Achievements, but 470 hours documented at least on that. I play Halo all the time. I know many of you in the chat do. Many of us here on the panel love it. But that game came out way too early. And I was one of the people, guys, by the way, where you all were like, delay it. I'm like, no, damn that delay. Get it out there. Get it out there.
Yeah, I was the same.
I was.
I made a video about it.
And, yeah, I was like, get it out there. I want it now. I want it now. And I'm glad I did get it now. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I mean, looking at the overall
you
of
would
it,
have liked to delay.
Ultimately, it would have made more sense to delay it. I see it now. I see that I was wrong. You know what I mean? So yeah, a delayed game would be best for Starfield to get that thing, running perfectly well. And if they can get a 60 frames per second performance mode, absolutely, I would be fine with that. I would not be fine with them releasing something that's broken or have issues like let's say, I don't know, Returnal.
But it comes. I
agree. I totally agree, Umbra.
It comes back to marketing, though. Like you look. So this is what we're upset about, right? With the Game Awards, from my understanding, and I understand your point. But the games is what we're here for. And so if we're not getting the games, that's the thing to be upset about. But I
don't want a broken game. Give me a good game, a good and well-running game. I don't want a broken game. Just, he got a game, at least. No, that's not going to cut it. They have to give us, not only do they have to deliver a great game for Starfield, because it sets so much precedent for.
Oh, it needs to be almost perfect.
Bethesda. Yeah. That not only do they need to deliver us a great game, it has to run well. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. You can't just be, oh, here it's in Game Pass, so be happy. That cannot be the case going forward. For
Quality.
Xbox. Because right, we need quality because that's the narrative we got now. It's in Game Pass, so Game Pass fodder. Who cares, right? You cannot have that going forward. It has to be a different mindset and energy going forward for 2023 and beyond, in my honest opinion. And part of that issue of marketing is why so many of us are up in arms. It's not that, oh, we didn't give us games. Microsoft did well this year. They did well as far as showing up at shows and stuff like that. We have to give them credit for that. But you cannot miss the biggest show of the year and just show us Game Pass ads and have Sony collecting awards left and right with, Christopher Judge taking up half the show talking for a game that's by Sony with Al Pacino on stage. She's got a great ass. You can't have all of that. All of that on top of games that were associated with PlayStation, like Stray, that should not have won what it won and won what it won.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? All those things, it made it look like, as people pointed out, the PlayStation show, it did. And then you have Microsoft just kind of there with Phil and Sarah both in the audience. That's a terrible look. Right.
He looks. Have you ever seen Phil Spencer that uncomfortable or
I've
annoyed?
never seen him look so annoyed.
I've never seen that before.
Did not want to be there.
Yeah, look, and I get that. I do want to address something else while I've got you here, but I want to move over to Pete and just say, look, Pete, do you think that we'll see a delay from Starfield? And would you be happy? Look, and again, I'll just say this. A lot of people are saying, well, they haven't given us a date. They did. They gave us 12 months. That game needs to be out in 12 months.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. They haven't announced the date, and they haven't done that for a reason. I don't think they're going to release this game until it's ready, and I think that's the right way to go. And I get what you're saying. The E3 event said that everything is going to be released within that 12-month window. I am of the opinion that I don't really care. The game should come out when it's actually ready to come out, and not before then. We've seen so many games that have come out far too early, and they have just suffered greatly because of it. And so
Starfield can't be that game.
No,
Definitely can't be rushed.
I know it's not a $70 billion acquisition, but it is an $7.8 billion acquisition. This is Bethesda's first IP in 25 years.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, this is what they bought Bethesda for, to bring people into the Xbox community. They have had a great relationship for years, but it's time to show what they can do, and I think Starfield has to be that.
Yeah, look, I understand where you're coming from. I really, really do. But I just, when it comes to Microsoft, as we've all been talking about, like, they have often said things and not followed through. And I really think, as well as giving us a great game, I really think they need to do both. I think they need to give us an almost perfect game. And then I think they also need to follow through in the time frame that they said it would be in. For me to trust that they can do what they say they can do. And to be honest, I'm not the guy who damage controls. As I said many, many times, they have not proven to us as a community that they can deliver quality first-party games in any kind of cadence, and they haven't. They still haven't proved it. And what are we, 2 years into the generation? But I think, again, going back to the show, I just don't think the show is the one to get on the soapbox about.
Fortunately, what they showed at the Xbox event in June just wasn't
terrible.
It really wasn't. The 21 frames or something like that for a AAA game that's been in development from that long with a development studio of the pedigree of Bethesda just wasn't good enough. And I really think that they took a back step, looked at what they have to do, looked at what the community is hoping that they're going to get, and have just taken more time. I know that Todd Howard specifically mentioned working with the Microsoft engineering team that developed the Series
Very
X
telling,
to get
that
the
comment.
most out. Yeah, I think that was a very telling comment, exactly. And like I said, if that's what they need, if time is what they need, then give them the time that they need.
Oh, I'll give him the time.
game
I'll just give
will be
him
better
a double barrel. You guys fucking lied to us at the same time. I'm gonna jump over to Cutie real quickly and just ask: do you think that we'll see Starfield get delayed? Because a lot of people seem to think that that's what's going to happen. And if it does get delayed, are you cool with it?
Look, Starfield's going to be a massive game, and I 100% agree with Pete. It's their baby. Like every single video and interview that I've seen, and everything that's been put out about Starfield has been it's been full of passion and love. And personally, I don't care if it's delayed. Look, I know that 2022, no first party games, whatever, first world problems. But this game is going to be an absolute masterpiece, and I want them to get it right. So yes, I do think it'll be delayed probably to the second half of the year.
Yeah. Well, look, I hope it doesn't, and I'll have something to say about it if they do. Because
I'm sure you will.
How many years have we been sitting here waiting for games? Look, I do just want to cover one more thing that I said.
Before you go with that, Risk. Before you go with that, let me ask you something. You and Cutie, better yet, Cutie. Let me ask you. So if it was the case that Starfield is delayed, which I think we all can agree should happen if it needs to be delayed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we all can agree. You don't want a rushed out or incomplete or broken game. What if both Starfield and Redfall are delayed? What would be your response for that?
I would hope there's Forza to play.
Oh, that's not going to cut it for me.
Maybe
I
not
love
for
Forza.
you.
I love Forza. It's not going to cut it for most of us, I would argue.
I would say for me personally, no. I mean, I'm already going to crack it if they don't release Starfield in the.
You're gonna have a tantrum over here, like one of those toddler ones, when you stamp your feet.
Oh, it'll be bigger than that.
I'm of a completely different opinion, Umbra. We've had this conversation before. I don't really care about first-party IPs anymore. Yeah, I get it that the industry needs Xbox to show that they can deliver on the first-party front, but Game Pass has changed everything for me, and the amount of Game Pass games we're getting, from Atomic Heart to Stalker to Replaced to The Lies of P. I don't want to name all of them. There's so many there that will be more than enough for me personally.
Yeah, but that's complete duality with your upsetness about the Game Awards. I mean, you guys are pissed about the Game Awards, rightly so. I get it, rightly so. But then in the same breath, you're saying, oh, if they don't bring the games and they prove to us completely the opposite of what we want to see, which is they cannot bring a cadence of first-party games, they cannot manage their first-party studios, that you're going to be cool with it. I'm not going to be cool with that.
It does sound a bit of a contradiction, I will admit.
My
It
Game
does.
Awards argument was to sell more Series X consoles and to build their in the actual like for everyone else, to get them under Christmas trees. That was my personal opinion on what it means to me for first party games.
Yeah,
there is a difference there.
I respect it. I do.
If they delayed any game out of the first 6 months, then they need something to replace that. Just to
Look, I'm going to be
compensate.
playing Hogwarts Legacy, guys. Like, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a massive flood of games anyway. Generally, third parties as well. It's gonna be crazy.
So I know we like our first parties, but honestly, there's going to be so much to play next year, guys. Relax.
No.
Yeah, as Xbox fans typically want to see. Well, you want to see the first part. It means a lot to Xbox fans because we've pinned our hopes on this brand and its studios based on the IPs that we like, and given them and vouch for them. Really, we have, because we had faith in them based on some of their track record, etc., whatever. So yes, there's a multitude of games out there, third parties and all. But as Xbox fans, you want to see it because you believed in the vision. So hopefully, wow, Hoggy, what the hell? He's just dropped $100.
We're going to change Huggeat's name to
You the man, you the
Santa.
man.
Merry Christmas.
Not only is it $100, he has codes as well.
That's ridiculous, Huggeat. And Modern Warfare 2. You're an absolute wow.
Modern Warfare 2.
Jesus.
What?
That's crazy. Thank you,
Resident Evil
Huggeat.
Village
So much,
as
mate.
well.
Hey, listen.
Anybody who wins the code,
Yes.
please say thank you in the chat.
Yes.
Huggeat is kind enough to put these codes down. Just say thank you.
Yeah, and it really pisses me off. Like, I'll be flat out. It really pisses me off when people don't say thank you. So if you do get the code, please shout it loud and proud. Thank you in the chat. And
Yeah, I
hug.
always say that. No one ever does it. Like, mate, just say you claimed it so we know. So happy for you. But
Yeah.
these guys just take the code and they're like, piss off, you pricks. I've got what I wanted from this show.
Someone has the Call of Duty code, so whoever has that, say thank you to Santa
Huggy is
Huggy.
inflating our numbers by just getting the cheap bastards to watch every podcast. He's giving away so many games and codes, but the chances are, like, you can get at least 3 codes. So I know there's a guy out there just salivating, holding his asthma pump at the same time. Oh, where the fuck is this guy going to drop the code?
That's so true. Literally, I've tried to get a code and I've been like less than 2 seconds and I've been beaten. I'm like, there's a dude who's
It's 1
just
second longer than it takes usually, brother.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
ridiculous, isn't it?
Ham got one. Great.
It's crazy how
Nice.
fast people claim these things.
Congratulations, Ham. Well done.
Nice. Thanks, Hargeet.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go back to one more thing about this Game Awards.
Trying to break up the tension.
And then I kind of want to move on after this, but I do
Congrats
also
to Purple Tree Frog too. You got Diablo.
I do awesome Purple Tree Frog. Congratulations.
Well done.
I do just want to say this one thing because it's another thing that got misconstrued. And it's very hard to put how you feel in a tweet. And sometimes you just do it off the back of you walking around doing stuff. You see something, you respond to it, and it's not completely thought through.
What have you done now?
Right. So I wrote down that. No, I put in that the Game Awards is not the biggest show. What I should have specified there is it is the biggest show of this year. It's definitely the biggest show of this year. However, as Colt so succinctly pointed out,
however with you, there's always a however with you.
There's
Just
a
say it.
caveat.
Just say,
Say
yo,
it, Riskit.
just say, look, man, why did you just say, yo, guys, I was wrong. Boom, done. Issue solved.
Look, I will. I've 110% admitted wrong many times. But here I don't think I am. And the reason that I don't think I am is because we haven't seen an E3 since 2019. I think the Keeley's Awards was 45 million in 2019. That's grown exponentially, like over doubled, right? So over doubled. I don't know exactly what E3 was. I've gotten like ridiculous different figures from different places and I just kind of gave up adding it up. One of them I got 60 million. One of them I got down to like 30 million. Like, so I really don't know. I can't get an accurate figure. And that's kind of my point also. E3 is an in-person event. And it runs for 1 to 2 weeks, you know, if you include all the shows around the outside of E3. It's really hard to say that it is the biggest show. So that was my point. Whether right or wrong, I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I was just saying that's my point. I personally believe that
I didn't follow what happened. Did you release a press statement in the form of an image with all your messages and your statement? Because that's what you did, right? I saw something from you. It's like a press release. Hi, you know, like in the delayed games and CD Projekt Red release one. You made one with really tacky font, and you were saying something.
I did,
and I didn't follow. I'm like, what the fuck's he said now? I don't know what he's talking about.
Yes,
but. That was what it was. You've actually released a press release.
That's right.
Do you know what kind of man? How big are you? This guy, every time he walks into Twitter, he just hears like some mad beats and people cheering. Riskit. There's the fucking press release from Riskit telling him, "Wait, actually, guys, why E3 is bigger." You did a press release.
I've got to do it for my fans, my adoring fans.
This Game Awards, it was that important.
No, I just wanted to clear it up. Look, man, I was copping a lot of shit, like more than just from one area. So I just wanted to be very clear about what I was saying.
That's such a minor thing. Who cares? You underestimated a show. Okay, fuck it. No, it's big. I'm surprising. Big numbers for me, even. Who cares? It's like such a big thing. You don't need a press release for that. My God, I've got the whole nation of Xbox against me right now.
Dude, I'll do a press release for like what I had for breakfast this morning.
You guys are fucking stupid. And that's what my press release would be. But yeah, don't worry about it, man. Fuck it. Even if you're right or wrong, I understand. E3 could be big. Could be like, are you going to compare it with E3 numbers and this coming E3? Because if you are, chances are you might be proven right because we haven't had an E3 in years.
That was kind of my point, but like
in-person event.
The point got misconstrued and then completely blown out of proportion.
Yeah,
So I was like,
I couldn't follow it because you were saying something different, and then people morphed it into something. I thought, and that's where I lost it. I'm like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
But then I said, this man released a press release. So what the hell? Did he abuse JediKnightPeter or something in secretly? Or what's going on?
That happens regularly.
Did Elon Musk?
I think we've been going at each other about this Game
Like
Awards
the
thing for like weeks now, since the Game Awards happened, like the next
They
day.
have their moments.
We've been going at it for a while. But it's good. I love discourse. I love having a back and forth where someone thinks one thing, as long as the other person's point is actually has rational thought behind it, I'm all for like having a discussion where someone thinks I'm wrong, I think they're wrong, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like the idea, I think, behind all these sorts of things and behind podcasts is to get different views and different opinions. Maybe you hear something you didn't think of before, and that's always a good thing. But we'll move on. For press releases and Game Awards. Before I do, guys, please hit the like button. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Also, guys, thank you for all the super chats. I'll jump onto them now. However, I just also want to add, it's a conversational podcast. If you do have a question, we will answer your question. But please just type question in the chat and it will highlight it for me. If you don't want to do a super chat, that's absolutely fine. I'll definitely want to make sure that everyone has a voice here. Okay, so we got Shooter with the Australian $10 super chat. He says, Merry Christmas, my brothers and sister. Have a glass of stout on me. Put hair on your whoops, Doomy, you don't have any. Shooter.
What?
Yeah.
Much love, Shooter.
Yeah.
Put hair on my what?
Yeah, well, he kind of cut out a bit there, but I'm thinking I know what anyway. Mr. Bushido N7, question to all ye Britannians.
Merry Christmas, Shooter.
Aren't biscuits what we Yanks call cookies? Yes. And it's weird that you guys call everything a cookie because it's just not.
I think it's the other way around. It's weird that you all call those things biscuits.
Nah, a cookie is a cookie and a biscuit is a biscuit.
See, because when I think of a biscuit, I'm thinking of something. I'm choking on some Popeye chicken.
Now.
Yeah, something's wrong here. I challenge the UK and Australia.
Americans ruin everything. Everything has to be literal. Sidewalk, not pavement. No, sidewalk. It has to be spelt out to you guys. I love America more. I just do, but still. I'd love to move to the States.
You're conflicted.
AJH, he is fixing to get blocked with the £2 super chat. He says, Penguins over Tim Tams. That's definitely not true. It's not true. Have you had a Tim Tam? You haven't had a Tim Tam. If you're saying that.
I did. I
Someone
have
get
had
them
it. I dated an Australian girl once, and she was from Tasmania, Tassie.
Yes. She had two heads.
Well, there's your first mistake, but okay.
Exactly.
Right there, brother.
That's not Australian.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a different
Y'all
island.
hating against their own type? What's going on here? Hating on your own?
No,
they're not one of us.
Well, it is part of the mainland, mate.
Yeah, but she gave me some Tim Tams. I tried it. It was like a cheap version of penguins.
Oh, that's wrong. Wrong. Lies. Frauds. Grude Intruder.
I don't even remember what the Tim Tams tasted like.
Grude Intruder with the $5 Australian super chat. He says, hey guys, great show and guest. Gonna be a saucy one. Halo sucks. Xbox got no games. Starfield 2024 will be a 76 meta. Everyone hate me now. Wish I was there. Garuda's a champion. Love that guy.
It's impossible to hate you, Garuda. Yeah, you're good, brother. You're good.
He is a great dude. Portal Player says, I saw a rumor today saying Redfall was releasing in May. Do you believe it? We'll talk about that soon. Big Mad Mo question, when it comes out, will you all play it? Right, he was talking about Starfield. Yes, I think we all will. I mean, it's on Game Pass. Why wouldn't you play it? Blood Wolf, Australian $10 super chat says, Riskit, Jedi, Umbra, Doom, keep bringing us great pods. Looking forward to seeing you in 2023. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, everyone. Xbox better. That's true.
Yes, sir. Love to you, brother.
Huggy Chatty with $100 super chat. I just shout you out again, man. Merry Christmas to you as well. And happy holidays and Happy New Year. You're an absolute champion. Really appreciate you dropping those codes. And all you guys who did speak out and say, I got the code. Thank you. I was going to say fuck you because I wanted the codes, but you know, it's not right now.
We never get.
By the way, who got Modern Warfare?
Ham Solo and I think Red Devil got the third, I think.
Nice work, guys. Thanks, Huggy. You're a champion again. Huggy Chenny again with a $10 super chat, the most generous man in gaming. He said, so, Riskit, from an Xbox perspective, the viewership attendance is basically the Xbox showcase. The number of viewers for that is around at E3, is around a few million at E3. Yeah, it's around about 4 to 5 mil. I did look it up. I went through heaps of figures. Hargate and started adding shit together, and you know what? I was like, "Fuck this!" I got a few different figures. And I'm like, it doesn't matter this much. I'm wasting too much time on this. I don't give a shit.
All I can see is Riskit doing like that GIF we see on Twitter where the guy is like trying to add all these astronomical
That's
numbers up, and he's like, I came up with 600 million for E3. I'm like, nah, you got it wrong, player. You got it wrong.
Definitely wasn't 600 million. Bobby Hawk put in a $1 super chat and didn't say anything, but he says too much anyway most of the time. Yeah.
That $1 was for a pony shout. That's all he was trying to do.
Yeah, he's just trying to cause pony trouble. Yeah. Oh, he's probably liking you because like you guys are both ponies. That's cool.
Time to spin that wheel.
Oh yes, and then we'll go to Umbra. You're gonna spin your wheel and give away a game. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Are you ready to go?
I got you guys loaded up, and I'll spin it, and I'll post the results on Twitter. So anybody who entered the contest from me and Pete giving away those 2 games, you'll see it on Twitter in a few.
All right, fantastic. Our next topic we kind of covered as well. Are you going to drop that in the chat as well, Umbra?
I'll name the person that won, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. We're talking about Xbox having a show in January. Look, the thing around this that I kind of wanted to talk about is, do you really think they are? I say they've slapped it together because of the backlash. I just don't think that they will. I think they're 5 months out from E3. Like, why would they? I can't see them doing it. I just can't see them doing it. Gaz, do you think they'll actually have a show? I mean, I believe Jez Gordon's usually all over it, man. But I mean, he might get bad information from someone you never know. What do you think, Gaz? Do you think you're going to have one?
And also the other factor is things are subject to change. So, marketing is fluid. So they may decide to push a show further later or not do a show at all because of X number of reasons. I think they need to show. They have to have a show because you've got 6 months and you've got all your games to market, which you haven't oddly been marketing enough of. It's weird. So you need to market that, and an event can do that where you have a gameplay showing of all 3 big games. Because that, if they did that, that goes, okay, wait, hold on. All these studios are in good shape. The time that they asked for put to good use, and they're ready. They're firing on all cylinders. So that's very important as a message. So if they have that Monday show and they have that kind of showing of all those games January show, that will be very good. It'll be very good. And I'll be very impressed because that shouldn't be discounted, that Starfield, especially Starfield, shows well. So that would be very important. So I think we're almost, we need a show, because even if that would mean they would given up marketing, a show would be perfect for that. Set the 6-month roadmap. If your studios have used that time well, you should be able to commit to a show showing all those 3 games, because you should be marketing starting. If you don't see that, then that's an indication of they're really playing it fine with their studios. And I mean, really fine, and all of them. So I think it's very important. And then at E3 itself, have a show that showcases the future. Perhaps not 12 months, but if they don't have anything compelling as such, 12 months, but they're ready to just show Hellblade or Avowed, just show us that. That's what the format should be. A January show showing everything that's coming right, like in the immediacy of that event, and then E3 just focusing on the future pipeline with gameplay. I have to stress gameplay for these announced games. Hellblade would need a substantial gameplay showing to show off more than just a walking forward and back with no real combat or anything. There's so many things they can show. So that's what they will. That's as simple as that, in my opinion. Just show us your 6 months, then deliver.
Unfortunately, Gaz, when has Microsoft ever done a show in January? I don't think they've ever done it before. I think all this is a lot of copium because there wasn't a show, and they didn't show anything at the Game Awards.
Well, they should do it though.
Yeah, they definitely should, but it's more out of hope than I really don't think it's going to happen. But you're absolutely right. Marketing team at Microsoft have really because although they have their ear to the ground, they've never done a show in January before. So why would they change things? I get that they need to change things, but I can't see them doing anything new. I just see them going to generally promoting at the major award shows or at E3 events, and I think they need to do do more. I personally do. I just can't see it happening.
Well, Sycamore says Gaz is demanding too much here, but think about what I'm demanding here, which is basically show us the next 6 games. Literally show us. That's the most basic thing you would be doing if these games are coming out. An event is just that, showing us that. And then in E3, show us gameplay. That's offering too much. So show us what's coming in the next 6 months and show us gameplay for all these studios who release CGF.
Considering
That's
the
asking
year
too much here?
Microsoft,
That's not even asking enough.
considering Microsoft is going to have the year that we all hope, and I personally think they're going to have, what a way to kick it off. Just start the year by dropping the hammer down and just showing game after game after game of what's coming in 2023. It would bring the community back together again, and I think we need that right now.
Or maybe that makes me think. Actually, what you just said there. Sorry to interrupt. If they imagine if in January they boom Starfield's coming out just like Feb or late end of Jan. That could, you might think, oh, they're really playing it close to the wire and now they're just releasing it in 1 month. But that would be amazing, potentially as a marketing perspective, because people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and a sustained marketing campaign doesn't make sense in my opinion, which is why I thought Redfall being immediately advertised after its E3 showing, whenever last year, it got advertised for months. They advertised Redfall aggressively, but then obviously it stopped. Now it's stopped really just now. It's so odd. But maybe this shotgun approach to marketing might actually work because of people's scattered attention span. Boom, sustained marketing period in 3 weeks could really build up hype, because the core fan base will know Starfield is coming. But do you want to make a force like Skyrim? You want it to trickle away from the core gamer. And the way, like Elden Ring is a prime example of that. That genre was niche, considered very niche. It's so funny to say it now, but that was niche. Boom. The community played it. Reviews came out. They loved it. Word of mouth spread. The masses who never played a Soulsborne game are now playing Elden Ring. So they could do that with Starfield. So that's why it's hard to speak definitively, because they just come out. And this is another way they can be very successful. Boom. Starfield's coming out early. That's it. All we're asking is to give a solid, very close release date. Feb. That'd be amazing. Like, oh, damn, that's coming way closer than we thought. And if it's Starfield, that would be so hype, because that would be sick. That was, for me,
18
then I'll be like, shit,
copies
okay.
later. Yeah.
I'm in
no one
agreement
is expecting them to release Starfield first. Everyone's thinking Redfall's coming, but I think, imagine if they did that. That would be big, and it bangs.
I personally think Redfall's going to come, just purely on how the game showed. But what do you think, Umbra? Do you think they're going to have a show in January?
Yeah, Redfall is looking like it's the first one up. I mean, it's pretty obvious from everything we've seen, just development wise. It looks like it's the closest. They're showing us gifts and new gifts every other day and things like that. It's pretty clear that that's going to be the first one up in my opinion.
Same.
I would imagine Forza is next after that. And again, I want them to take their time on Starfield. Honestly, I want them to take their time, even if it goes past the 6-month deadline. I'm 100% okay with that, because I don't think they're going to launch with a 60 frames per second performance mode. Personally, I think they're going to have that cinematic, as Jez Corden says, 30 frames per second, if they can get on that, because they were definitely not hitting it from the trailer we saw. So that's the thing, and I'll be fine with 30 frames for Starfield. Honest to God, I will be, just as long as it's smooth and everything like that. And some 30 frames per second games work well. I would hope they hit a 60. But I'll be fine with a 30 with it. I'll be honest with you. Just to say, though, I'm with you on that, guys, when it comes to showing us something. And that's why I think most of us felt the way we felt about, the VGAs. It was because, like, you all have to show us promise for what's coming up. Like, we can acknowledge that Microsoft did well as far as what they did throughout the year. But it's like, it feels like we took a step back when you see them not showing up for that. So seeing something that shows us promise for the next 6 months, like you pointed out, some new gameplay, launch, announcement of when it's going to launch or whatever, that would go a long way. So I'm in agreement with you there.
What do you think, Billy? Do you think they're going to have a show in January or not? And do you think they need to have a show?
No. E3 is going to be it. It's going to be the place to be in 2023 for anyone who is an Xbox fan.
Do you think that that's too long between shows then? I mean,
no,
considering the
no.
the community backlash that they got from the Game Awards.
I think there's something else. I think there'll be something else. I don't know if it'll be a show, but I think there'll be something else that will satisfy all you hungry boys and girls out there.
I think that a game release.
First. Y'all noticed that, right? Very sexist. Very sexist. I just want to point that out.
I'm sure there's hungry girls out there too.
I said girls.
You
I said
kind of
boys
threw
and
them out there.
girls.
You threw them out there kind of laxy days ago. I don't know, kind of boys and girls. You know what I mean? I felt like you kind of gave us too much energy versus the women, and it just came off as sexist to me. I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? Personally, I don't know. No, I'm just messing.
I think this is all slander. Gaz, do you see what I have to put up with on this show?
I sympathize. This is bad. Ganging up on her.
Yeah. Oh,
Gaz is a gentleman.
I bit my tongue so hard just now.
So I
so hard just now.
Time to spin
I'm
that
just
wheel,
simping,
brother.
straight simping right now.
Let's give away our first game. I think it's time to spin that.
I already
wheel,
posted it.
So,
yeah,
okay, you've already posted that.
I already posted it. So the first winner of the first game we're giving away is which is Code of the Lamb, and Pete will be gifting this because it's our Australian brother, Blood Wolf. He won the first one.
Oh wow!
Oh really?
Oh,
wow!
Congratulations,
Yep.
Blood Wolf, mate.
Congrats,
I'm really
Blood
happy.
Wolf.
Couldn't have gone to a better person, mate.
Congratulations, Wolf. Absolutely. I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell would my dog just decided to attack my bin and destroy my house. Well, I'm mid-show. But yeah, congratulations to Blood Wolf. If you could have seen that, I was literally chasing my dog around the house like he had a bone. Anyway, getting back to games.
More. I can see
you guys are a dog with a bone with this. Xbox doesn't release it. First party games. Oh my god.
Multiple was so on point. I've been watching
correct.
Your gameplay. You've been hitting everything. You can't drive for shit, man. And I thought I was bad at car game. That was bad. I was laughing at that. I was like, bro, this guy's literally using the wall to steer himself.
That's that Australian driving for you right there.
Walls are valid brakes.
Yeah, they slow you down. They slow you down. And at least they say follow the wall. That's what I was doing. So you'll actually see some real gameplay coming up of me actually racing and trying. So Mortival, fuck. No, you're right. Look, I'll jump into those. Those chats, and then we'll move to the next topic. Gamers Watch. He did ask a question. Just going back, he said, if Xbox do come up with a Q1 showcase, do you expect to see Everwild, State of Decay 3, and or Fable? And my answer to that would be no. And that's one I'll go to the panel on as well. I think I really don't think that those games aren't ready. Everwild's definitely not happening. Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of problems. From what we heard, there's a lot of problems behind the scenes with Everwild. So where they're at with that, look, I don't think any of us know, but I think you could expect to see Everwild, 2025, kind of maybe 2026 if we're unlucky.
Still happening. It's just been put on the back burner. Yeah,
State of Decay 3, man. Look, I'd love to see it at the back half of this year. I just don't think we will. And Fable's the same. There was someone in the community, I don't know who leaked incorrectly. Well, possibly correctly. It's rumored to be correctly that Fable was having development trouble. I don't know who that was, but it has come out, sort of confirmed that Fable is having development troubles. And
it's just Gordon that initially put the tweet out, and he's very credible.
Was it?
Yeah, so when I did it, everyone shat on me. So we're fucking amazing.
This is just Gordon, guys.
So and
have you heard
the exact same thing. Yeah, when
I
told it,
Tony.
That was saucy.
And he was the one who DM'd saying this is nonsense. He's in the DM, and then a few months later, he says the exact same thing I do, and I could have been a dick about that, but I let it slide. I didn't say anything until now. I replied to BG, and I'm like, bruh, like if it was anyone else, they would have taken their cock out on the internet and just gone, what did I say? But I didn't. I held it, put it back. I was like, you know what, fuck it. These guys, it happened once. I was obviously telling the truth. I never do this bullshit insider thing. I don't even like it. And then I blurted it out. My source fucking grilled me for doing it. And I'm like, oh shit. So I am not doing that, but I was right about it. But let me add some nuance, because I did this before, and Playground Games actually came out and said the same thing I did, but that was old information. And I don't know how. One thing you have to understand, a lot of the ways the information comes about without too much detail is that someone has left the place. So they've left, they're on gardening leave or whatever. But then that's how news spreads. It's usually a lot of people who leave positions who then explain, well, I was in this senior role or whatever, and this happened. And, you know, I know people in the field as well. So just like, I heard that.
And that information
and I don't know about any insiders.
Can end
it was
up being
specifically based on that studio, and and I relayed that information. I would never do that. And I was reading his WhatsApp whilst I was on XNC doing that. And I was just didn't want to give way too much, because you know I can't do that anymore. That made me realize it's kind of shit, because if someone loses their job based on you fucking mouthing off because you're on your excitement said it, that's pretty fucked. Actually think about it. So I'm not doing that anymore. And my mate at Ubisoft told me about Beyond Good and Evil and thingy, what's it called,
Assassin's
Black
Creed
Flag. I've seen. I mean, I've been there. I've seen the games before anyone else has. I've played them because I go to the studio. In Ubisoft in France, my Blade Runner poster is stuck in their studio. They've framed it. Oh, whatever. Their offices are cool. Been there. But so Fable, man, that's old information. But if you look at their job listing hirings, I'm like, what the fuck? Another concept artist and this director, and and we're talking in the background, and we're like, this looks it's quite interesting. How's development actually going here? And I had a lot of faith in the Playground, but it seems like this.
Guys.
I still do.
Yeah,
By the way, if any studio deserves the benefit of the doubt, it's them, and I've said it before. So I'm going with a lot of faith with them. But this if it's new or it's the same information I relayed 6 months ago, whatever Jez said, if that is new and that's the current state of affairs, I'm very concerned about that. But still, I have faith ultimately Playground Games will deliver. In fact, I'm expecting a Fable game that bests all of its predecessors, because Peter Molyneux and his failures kind of stained the reception of otherwise really good games. But despite that, Playground Games will deliver. I have a lot of confidence in them, because I think Forza Horizon, as great as it is still underrated in my opinion, considering how good the game is. It's hard to get racing games that refined in an arcade setting. So
it is. It's a totally different.
It will deliver, but it's like
it's a totally different genre of game.
We talked about this last week. We talked about it a bit, and we pointed out that they're not working with Unreal Engine, that we found out, right? Well, Unreal Engine 5. Now we have faith in Playground too. Yeah, they're saying that basically that the teams had issues that they brought in because they wanted to work with Unreal Engine, but they were forced. They put forced literally in the article by Jez to work with the engine they have, which is, I believe, the Forza
which doesn't sound right to me at all. I don't think they're being forced.
So what that means is they've brought in new talent, and Forza Tech is bespoke in-house engine. So getting people acclimatized to that, because they may have split development. Playground Games is now tackling a quite big new genre, needs to bring in people from the outside. Who knows whether, because they're expanding, and then these guys need to get acclimatized to Forza Tech. And I think the angle where people are saying, oh no, they thought Forza Tech was shit, and that's why they wanted to use Unreal Engine 5. I don't think that's correct. I think it's a case of just the realities of, if potentially, this is all speculation, by the way. I don't know why All I know is they had problems with Forza Tech and making it work with the open world, by the way. That's all I know. Nothing else. Since then, I've had no information because obviously this bastard won't tell me anything.
Well, no,
now.
that's the thing with these engines. It's tool that engine is basically had tools built for it to create a racing game. That's what they do with engines. They build tools to suit the game that they're making, and then obviously it's a great engine. It does many things, but they're going to have to retool the engine to create an open world RPG. Some of those tools will be there. Some of those tools they'll add, but they've also, as I said earlier in the show, they've also brought on like a half a new studio, a whole bunch of new people to create this game, and they need to bring these people up to speed on an engine that they've never worked on, and that to me, it just makes sense. It's just part of what development's all about. I do need to get through these super chats, but just going to what you were saying, Umbra, I don't think it's I think it's worth the pain depending on the engine, because what Umbra was going to say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I do believe Umbra was going to ask, do you think that that they should have gone with UE5, because that's an engine that you do learn in school when you learn coding and development and that sort of stuff. Unreal is one of them, and Unity is one of them. C++ and C# is what you will learn in school. So when you go out into the world, you've got at least a working knowledge of those engines and that sort of coding. And I think what Umbra was going to ask is should they just switch to Unreal 5 to make it easier and get this game out the door quicker? And I would say to you, Umbra, and I think I've said to you in the background, and we'll go to Gaz quickly and then we'll get to these super chats, is I think it's going to be worth it. I think the Forza Tech engine is such an engine it's worth teaching these people to use it and to see what we get. I want to see an open world RPG come out of the Forza Tech engine and see how that looks. That would be cool.
The open world aspect of Forza Horizon gives me great hope that the game can, and that team can pull it off.
Yeah, I do agree with the open world aspect of what we see in the Horizon games. That much I agree. What I don't know how it'll work is with combat and with faces and animation. I mean, I know they can work around it, but I'm just wondering how all of that's going to culminate, especially when we've seen Unreal Engine 5 and it's miraculous with everything we've seen it on. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I will say with the
He hated my opinion so much he left. He's like, man, I'm out. Enough is enough.
Sorry, Cutie. Cutie, what you were going to say?
Yeah. With the recent little mini downloadable releases from Forza, I've noticed the animations of the people have improved, within the audience. I don't know if other people noticed that, but I have a feeling that they're dropping some things that they would like in Fable into potentially the people in the game. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, especially with the donut release that they did. I noticed a lot, a massive difference in the animation. So it does give me hope.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Forza's focused on cars. It's not focused on
no, I know
on
that,
people.
Yeah.
So when that's the case, that's your focus. That's what you work on. That's what you put your time into. So I would again be interested to see how they deal with character modeling for Fable. But Fable's always been quite cartoony as well. So we don't know what kind of art style they're going for. But I've got to get through these super chats, and we will move to the next topic. Oh, Pete's back. Welcome back. Macbound, does Forza come out before Starfield? Yes, 100%. I do believe that will happen. Tevin with the $10 super chat. He said, I hope you guys are having a good day. I also hope Xbox has a showcase soon for the first party titles set to release in the first half. I think that they need to show something, Tevin, even if it's just, a deep dive on Forza, deep dive on Starfield, a deep dive on something, just something. If they give us something, that would be awesome. Ganger in denial with the Australian $5 super chat. I'd love to tell everyone what a ganger is, but I won't. Ganger late to the party, trying to make up for it. Mortivore says that I can see why Riskit loves Forza. His driving is absolutely amazing. Look how he dodged through all of those poles. Thank you, Mortivore. You're a champion. Shooter with $2 super chat. He says Gaz is a crawler. I don't know what that means. It might mean that you're a pony. Is that a pony word? Or it might be an old army.
Maybe.
Possible. Could be. Mike with the Californian. I don't know where that's from. With the CA $5, Canadian $5. Studios don't have just one concept artist or one gameplay developer? Why is everyone surprised the brand new development team is looking for more talent? I don't think Gaz is saying that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Gaz, but I think Gaz is saying, and I 110% agree, is that the types of developers and the things that they're looking for seem to be early things that you would be doing early in development.
Concepts, because they're by concept stage, they're called concept artists, along with some technical people. I don't remember their roles now, but generally this is a conversation we had over a sustained period of time with Colt. I'm like, hey, look, they've just hired this guy. Look, isn't this a senior position? Isn't this similar to what Avalanche? Have you seen what that's coming out like with Contraband? They've just hired 4 senior people, including a tech director and creative director. These are the guys you have at the inception of a project. What's going on? 4 hires. So it's all for Contraband, not for the studio Avalanche. So Microsoft might be getting burned by Avalanche, who have not been managing their affairs. They've entered into this business relationship to develop this game, and look, that's happened to them, and they can't imagine if that's the case. I'm not saying it is, but imagine if that's the case. That's pretty crazy, like having such bad bout of luck, because a third party agreement like that could be very successful, but they vouch for Avalanche, and it may be the case that that's not run well because of these senior hires, and now we're contending with another title that's going to be delayed a lot longer than what Microsoft and we got estimated. And it reminds you of Platinum and what happened with
Scalebound. But you've also got to think as well, like they have acquired a ridiculous, it's unprecedented the amount of studios that they've acquired and now have to manage, and their management team hasn't grown. It's still Matt Booty. And as our friends over at Just Gaming Podcast would say, there seems to be not enough booty to go around. So
true.
Oh, don't start the booty again.
Look, we've got 2 more here and we'll move on to the next topic. Grey Monad said, great friend of the show, great moderator. Thanks for your question, Monad. He says, do you think that Squanch Games could be brought in to help with the humor in Fable? I think that would be cool if they did, because that's sort of that tongue-in-cheek humor. I think maybe Squanch goes a little bit far with their humor for Fable. I like their humor. I don't think it goes too far, but I think for Fable it might go too far. But it'd be pretty cool. People are talking about acquiring Squanch Games. I think everyone just needs to settle the fuck down on that, because we're already just trying to acquire, well, not we, but Microsoft is trying to acquire one thing. Let them get done with that, and then we'll move on to the next. Gamers Watch. Another one from me tonight. Would people like to see Halo given out to other Microsoft studios? I've told Gaz before, but I'd love to see Machine Games get Halo, a Halo game set before Reach. I don't really know. I don't think so. I think they just need to tighten that studio up. You hand that game off to it. If you hand it off,
what happens to the story before Reach? Unless you go into the Primordial saga, the Forerunner saga. Sorry, then there's nothing that immediately before Reach that in canon, in terms of canon. You're going back to the Forerunner era, which would be amazing, because if you played as the Forerunners battles were, sorry to nerd out about Halo here, but the Forerunners battles with the Primordial is so epic. It shits on the scope of Halo. That's how good that story go back. So if they ever deliver
take the
that
human factor out of it, Gaz, and I think that's very important in Halo.
And the human factor, though, is there are humans they're super hyper advanced as well, and so they got fucking downsized through the what's it called? Through the arbiters. Arbiter. What's wrong with the game?
Sent back to. They were sent back to.
What's his name?
Early times.
Born Stellar. What's his name? I read the book so many times. Born Stellar. Something. Someone in chat. You get bonus points if you know what the Forerunner's name is.
It's not Mendic and Bias.
No, Mendicant bias is the AI. But,
Yeah, it's AI. Yeah. Look, we'll come back to that. We've got another question coming, and we'll get to that later on. We'll move to this. I found quite interesting, and I think everyone's pretty damn sick of the FTC and all that bullshit. But something happened, so we'll just do a quick run over on this one. There's two things I want to cover here. First of all, gamers are suing Microsoft. Oh. And this is definitely going to be a source video, I think, from you. But like, every time you think that they've done something like outrageously stupid, they find another way to top it. I don't know how they do this. Like, it's ridiculous. Some of the reasons that they cited for, you're spending 10 grand of your own money to sue a $1 trillion company. How stupid. Anyway, you're not going to win that battle. Anyway, they said, these are the reasons cited that they're suing. There are only several independent game publishers in the world that are capable of making the highest production quality and the most graphics-intensive video games that can be mass-marketed and are highly anticipated amongst gamers. And that the increasing consolidation of those companies is bad for gamers, employees, and the business world insofar as a whole. And there's a couple other things that they cited. One of the things that they cited was it would be bad for employees. They went into more detail about that. I actually think, and I kind of agree with Destin, made a video on this, and I kind of agree with Destin that that's a good argument. It's not a good argument, and he was saying it's something that the FTC should have adopted or the CMA should have adopted. No, they shouldn't. I completely disagree with that. It's a great argument. It's just not an argument the FTC or the CMA or the EU can adopt. They're not there to look after their employees. Unfortunately, that's not their job. Their job is to look after consumers. That is their mandate, and they should not be stepping outside their mandate. So you can't really use that argument if you're the FTC, even though it's probably a great argument. It does limit, when you limit the amount of workplaces that you can go to, that can be bad for employees. I 110% agree with that. It's just not an argument that can be used.
Said, the unions have actually sided with the deal.
Yeah,
and that is very rare with an acquisition.
Yep, 110%. I just thought, going back to the fact that gamers, I don't even know what to say about this. Like, this is just the height of stupidity. Look, this is akin to me, you, Pete, we're all sitting down and we're like, we should just sue Sony for like raising the prices of PlayStation 5s. What do you think? Should we just all go to court?
Look, I'm not sure about you guys, but how long it took me to actually acquire a PS5 was ridiculous, and I suffered a lot of trauma from that. So,
yeah, exactly.
Sue them, Dooney.
Yeah,
definitely sue them.
We should take them.
Class action. Let's go.
We're heading straight to court.
I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. It's not. I'm so kidding. What a waste of time. What a waste.
She was dead serious. She's very litigious. Do not believe her.
But who comes up with, look, this is just another like little saga in the whole, this thing's been like absolutely nuts. Like, it's been great to see Microsoft and PlayStation get at each other's throats. I love it. They've been in the console wars from day one, and they pretend like they're above it. They're not above it. They've been at each other's throats for years. Well done, PlayStation, on your game bullshit. Like, you guys are against each other. Like, that's it's what competition is. So there's been a few good things come out of this, but just the salt that comes out of the PlayStation side about this whole deal. Gaz, I'm going to go to you. What were your thoughts on gamers suing? Do you think that they're going to win this court case as a lawyer?
No, it's a spurious case. Possibly architected. There are like 10 complainants in this massive class suit action. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's a bullshit report. It's something you used to just shit on the ponies. I'm like, yeah, you guys, what are you guys doing? You guys are scared. You're fucking
I agree with Game Pass status, but I think we need a poll,
Microsoft.
mate.
So dumb, but it's just such a dumb thing. It's not even worth the paper it's printed on. The judge is going to wipe her ass with that in 2 seconds. It's such a dumb claim, but people would sort to do it. So maybe this is the more insidious side of me. Maybe Sony could have hired these or incentivized these 10 people to make this claim as a bad PR move, because all of that is based on PR. FTC are idiots as far as it comes down to the detail. They didn't even sit with Microsoft on the table to even discuss the terms, even though Microsoft reached out. So these guys are just literally following a mandate politically. FTC's Lena Khan is just going on to make a big example of big business. She's obviously going to fail. She's actually confirmed affirmed the likelihood of failure, but they have nothing to lose. There's no skin in the game, so they're just going to go attack everyone. There's no liability on them. They're a regulatory body. Lena Khan's going to get murked in court because one, the case and substantively is shit. Microsoft can easily win this case. It's an easy case. They're not market leader. Microsoft's, however, I don't know what their legal team is doing, but Microsoft's still a giant, and that's Microsoft's stink is considerable. And this is the FTC are licking their lips because they announced this mandate before. So now this $80 billion deal, they get to just make themselves relevant. And Lena Khan starts to really just cluelessly hurtle towards this deal. I don't think and they know it because they're making statements almost, they will completely get murked. I'll be astounded that big business is curtailed in this way, because what does that mean for the future of deal making in big business? That would completely kill that, and it's a political affair. Are you gonna
that will echo through all other industries? It won't happen.
No.
And particularly at a time where you're talking about an American company facing Chinese opposition and American politics, you think that a concession like that, so they would undermine their political strength in that region? Gaming is a massive form of propaganda for a lot of Western authorities. It's obviously they're going to have their fingers in there. There's no way they will relent against China. This deal will go through, but the question is, how long will it be delayed? Sometimes I think it's 50-50 because of the way the lawyers are posturing. But today I saw the venom. If you saw their statements, it was, in legal terms, I'm telling you, it is scathing as that. There's so much poison in that. Brad Smith went full Mortal Kombat on this. Or whoever.
I think it's literally in a whole bunch of his responses, he basically said in very layman's terms, none of these complaints are worth responding to. So he didn't even respond to any of the complaints. He went down and said, yeah, that's true. We're not responding to the rest of that. That's true.
Now,
We're not responding
talking about Brad Smith. Did you guys see the lady from that's advocating for the lawyer that's advocating for Activision, Lulu Ching Messervy? She made a thread a while ago, about maybe 4 or 5 hours ago.
I didn't see that.
She's trashing the FTC. I actually posted it on my timeline, and she's going at them like Twitter going
the
at
Activision
them.
Head, right? The Activision leader, I think.
Exactly.
I know her. I can't wait to read her thread because she was raw before it even started.
Now
she got bigger fangs than anyone at Microsoft.
Yeah,
Brad Smith
exactly.
came out of nowhere. I didn't even know who this Brad Smith guy was until
I
he
didn't
just
either.
came out of nowhere.
I'm not gonna lie.
Like from Police Academy. Hello.
I
Boom,
confused him at first. With Brad Sims. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, Brad Sims going in like this? I'm like, I didn't know this brother covered
with his upside down mouth. He would be like, yo,
it's upside down.
Please make it happen.
Well, look, as we're kind of going into this whole broader conversation about the FTC, and I don't want to stick it on for too long because we've kind of done this to death, but the CMA also came out. This is kind of adding credence to what you're saying there, is that the case is just going to fall apart. It is falling apart. And I think the CMA thought that they had the overwhelming support of the public, but they came out recently in a statement as a response to the summaries. They came out with a summary as responses from the members of the public that issued statements. Of the 2,100 emails that they reviewed, around 3/4 were broadly in favor of the merger, and around 1/4 were broadly against the merger. And look, there's a whole lot of reasons as to why people were for the merger, and I think we've covered those pretty well. But there was some pretty interesting, against. I want to read a couple of those out because they are laughable. They really are. Microsoft is already dominant in PC operating systems, and this merger is an attempt to gain a similar position in gaming. And to that, I mean, you got to say fucking duh. Like, what, you think they're in this game to not win it? They think they rolled up hoping to lose to PlayStation. And they rolled up to like hoping not to get any market share. Like that, they're in it to win it. Oh my god! Like holy fuck! That's why we shouldn't let them. We should just stop them. Microsoft will have the incentive to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox post merger. This will adversely affect gamers who cannot afford an additional console, and they would therefore switch to Xbox at the launch of the next generation of the console. How is that a reason to not let the merger go through? Like I was reading through these
this whole thing of looking to the future and guessing what might happen in the future is just insanity. But I think Brad Sam's made a video today, and he's suggesting that the government, because it's such a large acquisition, $70 billion acquisition, that they're just doing their due diligence. The problem I have with that is they're using taxpayer money to make an argument that doesn't stand up, and I have a big problem with that.
Yeah, it's just that they're making up stuff. And Lulu, if you all haven't read it, please read through her thread. I mean, she's not just going at them, and you all have seen it in the chat, some of you. She's not just saying stuff like a lawyer or whatever. She's not lawyer speaking. She's talking like somebody on Twitter. Like literally, she had an image from Mean Girls. She said, "Stop trying to make cloud gaming market happen." She's not playing. She's dead serious. And I was talking to my boy Sycamore earlier about it, and I said, as much as Microsoft is advocating for this deal and wanting it to go through, Activision most definitely wants it to go through. And you know what I mean? Like they are basically one in this case because they're going to benefit. Both are going to benefit greatly. You know what I mean? So she's more or less, I think the strategy is Microsoft is going to say what they're saying, be it scathing, be it biting, be whatever it may be. But Activision, they're fully unleashed. She's not holding back whatsoever whenever she speaks.
Well, that's exactly my point. Yeah. There's literally, and this is the really odd thing about the FTC thinking they're going to go to court. I don't think they think they're going to win this. And she's been very clear that she doesn't give a fuck. I don't think she used the word fuck, but she doesn't give a fuck whether she wins or loses. And that's just throwing away taxpayer money for one, which is my problem with it. But everyone, almost everyone is in support of this deal. Except for the regulators and PlayStation. Literally every single, I think Google had a little bit to say about it. Like Google, obviously, that they don't want Microsoft gaining any position anywhere. They're direct competitors in many ways.
In the gaming space.
Especially in the gaming space, that's right. But
and not so much in the mobile space, sorry, I should have said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing.
Changed tack with their recent rebuttal of the FTC and what they're going to go to court with, where they started to push that mobile space a lot more, suggesting that 2/3 of Activision's player base actually comes from the mobile market and 1/3 of their revenue comes from the mobile market. And in 2021, they only had 10% of the of games that came out, first-party games that came out, and I think 16% of the consoles sold. So they've definitely changed tact and are more leaning in the mobile market now, which I think is pretty smart from them. They've taken Call of Duty out of the equation and they've broadened it out, which I do like.
Yeah, sorry, I need to get to these. I need to get to these super chats because they're quite interesting.
I just wanted to say, do you think that did you say 1/3 comes from mobile?
1/3 of their revenue comes from mobile, but 2/3 of the player base actually come from mobile.
Do you think that's because of Call of Duty Mobile?
It possibly could be, but there's so much there. There's so many other games.
I'm gonna say no.
Most people do their marketing, gaming from.
I'm gonna say no. It definitely doesn't. Candy Crush is probably their biggest. No, it is. Candy Crush is their biggest.
Candy Crush.
Yeah, so I think they've got a massive presence in mobile, and Microsoft has made no. I mean, this is why I wasn't surprised when they offered, PlayStation Call of Duty on PS Plus. I wasn't surprised. They've made no secret about the fact that they want, ABK mainly for its mobile market. That's what they want to slip into, and also Apple. We talked about it last week. Have to open up their storefront. On in the EU, I believe it was. So that's a step forward. That's a massive precedent set. I think the EU went after Apple for blocking other storefronts on their hardware, and now they're going to have to open it up. That's a kind of a sign. That's what Xbox needs. They want to slip into that mobile market, get a storefront, break the duopoly, and I think that's their plan. I think they kind of need to push this forward. I think PlayStation's been successful in the fact that they have delayed the deal. I need to get to this super chat because fucking hilarious, Games Heroes. But before I do move down there, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.
Oh man, I'm so happy he came in. Oh my god!
Share us out. Look, I love the guy, but I'm not going to dump on him too much. But I do love the guy.
You know the guy?
Yeah, I know the guy.
Shit, the guy's crazy.
Yeah, we know him.
We know. Look,
Games Hero. Yeah.
No, this guy's crazy. I tweeted about him. He tweeted for some reason says I get more views than Gaz. Gaz's channel is dying. Our channel's growing. What the fuck? Everyone see that.
Games,
and then he,
you got it. You know what?
He shared
if
his
I hold a space again, guys, and he's there, I'm going to call you in there to jump in because Games is actually a good guy. He's a good dude. He's just different.
But
a little misguided.
Explain to me.
Slightly misguided.
A little misguided. He shared a screenshot of his views, and he had 71 views, 1.1K 4 months ago, and 148 views. I'm like, what are you talking? Why are you using this screenshot, bro? You could have. Did you forget to fake it? It's linked in his description as well. I was so confused. I'm like, mate, what the fuck? Like, what is he talking about? Am I
what it
high?
is? You know what it is he had those views, but he had everybody that watched had like 10 people watching with him. That's what it was. So it multiplied. They just don't count.
He's only got 71 views though. 100
right, but see, plus 10 a piece. You know what I mean? That's what 700.
Look, that's all it is. I got to move through these chats. I got to move to say Apex Predator said, "What if the studios are deep in development and they're replacing contractors?" Apex, I hope they stop using contractors for things like engines. If they're using it for animations, it's not really a big deal. Animations can be picked up by anyone. Gamers, watch if this lawsuit is raised by 10 gamers as dumb as Dr. Yeah, we're actually going to talk about Dr. Pony. We're going to do a bit of a quick look back on 2022, and he's in the list. Don't worry. Dr. Docs. Now, Games Trailers, who's Games Heroes. Look, he is a great. I appreciate the $10 super chat, brother. And look, I have nothing against you, but this is probably not the cleverest of comments. He says, remember, folks, Gaz is doing a world tour on Pro Xbox podcasts because he's getting called out. One game got delayed and it's the end of Xbox. Hope you keep that same energy when Spider-Man gets delayed next year. This is the thing that I have a problem with, but I mean, it's always going to happen. It's always going to happen. Like
it's such a dumb thing to say.
As content,
I've obviously kept the energy. I made a video rinsing God of War for the delay. I start singing a song. You don't think I'm going to fucking say anything if Spider-Man 2 gets delayed? The only real AAA exclusive they have next year. Of course, I'm going to make fun of it. Why do you think I wouldn't? It's so dumb.
Look, exactly.
Like,
and I do just want to say,
stupid.
Games Heroes, a lot of times shit that we say as content creators on podcasts or whatever can get taken out of context. And then sometimes you're probably not looking at the history. And I did say in a tweet, I think Gaz had, I think he's always been genuine and honest about his thoughts. And I don't think that he's ever flip-flopped on anything that I could possibly remember. So
what have I flip-flopped on?
Never. Yeah.
If I'm surprised people are thinking this because your mindset should be, hold on, this guy was rawly rinsing PlayStation for 2 years for all the bullshit they were doing because it was easy pickings. They kept fucking up. So I made videos of that. So all you fans joined me in rinsing PlayStation for those reasons. You celebrated 2021 and the Metacritic, and I used that in my source video when we were shitting on PlayStation. And now here turns around, and the complete opposite happened. And you have no demands, and you're surprised that I'm maintaining the same energy? Why wouldn't I be? I was genuinely calling PlayStation because of the stupidity of what they did. So when it turns around, of course, I'm going to go after Microsoft, and with Microsoft, there's a legacy. So people, to me, ultimately, I'm really grateful. All of this has made me so happy it happened because I filtered out the noise. And I consider these guys don't add any value. They're super bots. They just want to win against the ponies. They don't give a shit about the actual industry as much as I do. So it's like, fuck it. These guys will just just let them fight their invisible war. Not in any entertaining way, other than we can use their receipts for content. So we recycle that for you.
Content, I like that.
Exactly, that's what we do. So that's the best way. We just use it. They're so prominent in their voice. That's a good way to just churn out the stupidity of what they say and produce funny content. Like at least people.
You know what it is though. You know what it is, guys. It's like, and I get it, right? I can't excuse it, but I do get it, and it's because Xbox gamers had been facing adversity, be it from PlayStation gamers or the media, for so long that it has created this kind of complex. So anybody being what they feel is too critical, they're going to have a little bit of a drawback from them. So I get it, but it doesn't excuse some things. Some things we do have to call out and acknowledge, guys. You know what I mean? And the VGA things, and it's okay for everybody to be a bit critical. I don't think we should be tearing them apart, but it's okay to give critiques, and I think that's fine. So I think we just have to kind of draw that line of what's acceptable and what's not, and learn to deal with that. It's just opinions at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's all it is.
And social media gives anyone a platform to, a soapbox for them to stand on and say, "Hey, this is my opinion," and I think people
all the more
capitalize
power
on
to
that a
them.
lot. No, but but some
It's
people
good.
do. Gaz, not everyone uses their superpowers for good. You know what I mean? And I think we all need to just try not to.
It's just part of the discourse. It's just a microcosm of reality of life. And mob rule is, for instance, a good phenomenon that you can draw parallels to this, because it is mob rule, build sentiment, brand loyalty. And then it's just very weaponized, but it's still real. Like it's quite interesting for me to observe the phenomenon of people rallying against a brand, having faith in one that failed last generation. And obviously I'm part of that because I want Xbox to win. So watching everything unfurl, it may sound stupid to people like Gaz. I'm watching what I call these basic bitch takes. I'm like, ugh, what the fuck is this? But I still observe it, and I'm like, it's quite interesting phenomenon to see all these people now that they're really now being quite strongly associated with Xbox.
It's very easy to sit behind a computer or a phone, like to keyboard warrior. You know what I mean? And what are they like out there actually rallying?
Like them in their place.
Yeah, it's basically just tribalism. It's been around since the dawn of time. However, this is the thing I think about a little bit disappointing actually in the Xbox side. I will say, like we are the PlayStation side has long been considered probably the worst fanboys, and I think some of the Xbox fanboys are starting to get just as bad. And you should never let your tribalism. You should never let your tribalism override your common sense. You may think what you think, and you may think that, but that doesn't mean you need to personally attack other people because of what they think. And I think that happens all too often, and it shouldn't, because you don't know what someone's going through behind their keyboard. And I'll say this: you should speak to people how you would speak to them face to face. That's kind of usually hold true to that on Twitter.
And
you should do that.
You live by that, Riskit. You always say, I would say this to someone's face, but there are lots, and I'd say the vast majority of people who bandwagon against certain things like this, and they would never say it to your face. They would, yeah, absolutely. And I'll say, Gamers Watch. I'm not always the arsehole I appear to be on Twitter, but I'm usually always polite too. I won't come at someone hard unless they come at me, so I try not to anyway. I want to move on to the next topic. Before I do, guys, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. We go live at 7 p.m. EST every Friday. Hit the like button. This is just a little topic that I wanted to quickly talk about because Sifu was a terrible game. It wasn't great. I think it was touted as just an absolutely horrible game, but now it's good. It's coming to Xbox, so those Metacritic scores should rise. Sifu looked like a really good game, but it is coming to Xbox apparently in March 2023. I didn't get a chance to play it. I really did want to play it. So I'm just glad that I get to play it on the platform. I mean, I do have a PS5, but I prefer to play things on Xbox. So I just thought this is a really cool little thing that we are getting Sifu. And from everything that we saw, it looked like a pretty good game, so I was pretty excited for it. Cutie, are you going to jump into Sifu in March and bust some heads? I keep thinking you're saying seafood.
Okay,
I thought you were going to say seafood. I was like, what is this game, seafood? It hasn't been on my radar, but I think the more games that come to Xbox, that's amazing.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah, always.
Absolutely. Umbra, you going to bust some heads with me in seafood?
Yeah, man, I already have it on PC, and they beat my ass. I'm just be honest with you. The mechanic of it is that if you lose, the more you die or whatever, you age.
Oh,
And
well, I would be terrible at that.
Oh yeah, they're gonna beat your ass in the first stage. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I got to that stage with the club, and I made it to the end finally at one point. But at one point they were giving me the business. And I'm like, damn, I'm like 65 right now. They beat my ass to an old age.
Oh, really? So it made you the same age as you actually are?
Yeah, it fit with my age, I guess, as I am, and how your body actually is.
I thought you were the oldest. I thought you were.
Yeah, it got my age right, but had the actual, it made me physically as weak as what Riskit is right now. But yeah, no, they beat my ass. It's actually a pretty good game, I will say. So that caveat, yes. I'm happy for it to come over. I do wish it would have been coming into Game Pass though. So I'll wait for it if it's it depends on the price because it jumps out at 40 or whatever. I'm like, nah, I got it on PC. I can wait. So depends on the pricing, but I'll get it eventually.
It's always price with you, Umbra, isn't it?
Achievements.
It is. It is always about the price of the Umbra, and I was wondering how he's going to handle these $70 games, and it's going to be interesting going forward into 2023. If Umbra
I've been managing it pretty good, haven't I?
If anything, if he plays anything outside of Game Pass, I'm going to be calling him out. So Pete, are you excited to play Sifu? It's just a little short topic. There wasn't a whole lot going on. Thought I'd throw it in there. What do you reckon, Pete? He's gone.
Look, bro. I say
I think my stuffs and
there he
things.
goes. I was pretty close, I think. But then that sound kind of
actually, it's probably the best accent you've done in a while. Yeah, it was bad.
Well.
So
I'm working on it.
What do you think of Sifu? Sifu, not seafood.
I was so upset when I saw Sifu was going to be a PlayStation exclusive, and I'm so happy that it's coming to Xbox. I know it's not a Game Pass game, but it definitely looks right up my alley. The combat looks amazingly fun. What was that game? Midnight Express? I think it's like very similar to that. Really looking forward to Sifu. I love the difficulty aspect of it. And yeah, I can't wait to play that game. Looks amazing. I do agree with Umbra. I'm going to wait and see what price they're going to price it at. I don't think it's a AAA game, but I definitely want to try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Gaz, are you into Sifu and are you into seafood?
Yeah, man, Sifu is fucking epic game. I bought it on PC and PlayStation, and I don't buy physical games, but I got the limited edition one for Sifu. It was actually for my mate Mo Kwame in the US, but then turned out they had it, so I was like, fuck it, I'll keep it because it looks so cool. So yeah, I've been playing Sifu. Sifu is such a fucking sick game. Don't even bitch about it not being. I saw some people like, this should be on Game Pass. I'm like, go fuck yourself, man. Just like you're saving, so you can't demand everything. Well, actually, now that I think about it, that guy may actually make sense. Sorry, well, I take it back. Random stranger who occupies my mind on this. But Sifu is a great game. Like I'm so salty. Game of the year was what in best indie game, was it Stray? Yeah, fucking
Stray.
Disgraceful. Yeah. That game, I get it. You like cats, people, but fuck's sake, Sifu was such a beautiful game. I think people take Sifu for granted. Like, it's fucking the Tarantino video games. That the combat is so good. It's so refined. It's near perfect. People find it hard to get it because it's quite hard. The game forces you to learn very strict. There's very strict margin for error there, and it's quite hard until you like most roguelikes. It's a roguelike. People don't realize that, but it is a roguelike game. Well, they should do if they watch the trailers because he ages. But that game will actually train you to become better at fighting. Like, not in real life. Don't even try and go out there.
I was about to say, what?
Run.
And I use it.
I got my ass
these people going out and they got the asthma pump. I can fight. Bam, dead.
Those fists don't work in Chicago. They have guns. This is ridiculous. Exactly. Why are they shooting at me, Coach? I'm playing Sifu.
Because Gaz gets sued because he said this. No, but it's such a good game. Sorry, I really love the game. It's just perfect. So I'm playing it back now. I don't like. It's just great. Please try that game.
Did you beat it, guys? Did you beat it by the way?
No, I went really at the end, almost beating it on PC, and then my PC started fucking around, so I'm not playing on it. So now I've got the PlayStation 4 one, and interestingly, my first sitting, I barely died in 2 levels. I didn't even age, and then I got fucked it up. So annoying. But it's like I had trained it. I remembered it from my muscle memory. That's what it is. It's a very unique game, in my opinion. People might think it's just combat, but it's not. For me, it's just a really good game. I love it.
It's pretty dope. I love the mods I saw on PC. Like that was dope.
They had mods. Oh, I haven't even seen that.
Yeah, apparently they're making the same studio's making a John Wick game, and I think
that would be epic.
Yeah,
they could pull it off.
Are they? I didn't know about that, Risk.
No, the makers
either.
Yeah, the makers of John Wick actually spoke out and said they would like the makers of Sifu to make a John Wick game. So yeah, like that looks pretty cool because it does give you John Wick vibes, this game, when you look at it. When you look at the
some way it does have that kind of vibe. It's just really good. You can see them work on a John Wick game and it would be epic.
Yeah,
like this with guns. Like, I mean, the hand-to-hand combat is on point, and John Wick is quite agile, the fighter. So with guns, with this camera, even this kind of like wide angle, perfect. They could easily do it. I didn't know that though. So they are, so they're definitely working on the John Wick game.
Yeah, don't quote me, it's 100%, but I'm pretty sure that they are. It could be. Okay. It could have just been a rumor, but I do know that
I look into that.
That for sure the makers of John Wick mentioned the makers of Sifu as wanting them to make that game. So that would be pretty cool if that did come together, or if it is coming together.
It's not the first time we've seen an aging mechanic. I think Kronos did it, the prequel to Remnant. But I think it's a very, very smart mechanic. I can't wait to play that game, that John Wick game. That'd be.
Do you know what it is? Good. Do you know what it is? It's actually the other way around. So John Wick's creator
look what you've done, mate.
John Wick's creator
the sex bots with you.
Is writing a movie based on Sifu. It's backwards.
What?
Yeah, so the creator of John Wick is doing a Sifu movie.
Oh, hey. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You, man. You hyped us up like fucking. We were like, yeah. How did I miss this, man? This was fucking crazy, man. Such a piece of shit. Fuck's sake. Got me so hyped.
Yeah.
I was just finally an idea I could like play around with. I was like, oh, that's something really good to look forward to. And you fucking ruined my dreams.
Yeah.
You could dream for 15 seconds.
It's being made. It's being made by Xbox, so you won't be getting it till 2030.
There's the caveat.
There's a caveat. I haven't said caveat. Oh, you made me say it. Yeah, you made me say it. Look, we'll move on from Sifu, but that looks awesome. I'll definitely be playing that day one. That looks like a wicked game. My God, it's getting hot in this studio. I think it's up to 42 degrees. Here's a question. Does anyone even want to talk about like acquisitions while Microsoft is acquiring ABK with all the bullshit that's going on? And people are still talking about acquisition. I can't believe it. So Netflix has come up as I can't remember the writer, Reuters, talking about Microsoft may be looking to acquire Reuters. I didn't want to say Reuters though. Routers? What is it? Say it again. It's what?
Wait, who's Rod? What?
Reuters. Anyway,
from the router to the tutor.
So the rumor is apparently Microsoft might be looking at Netflix as an acquisition.
Yeah, that's not happening. Move on.
Yeah, I know.
Happening. What, $190 billion acquisition at a very crowded market at a time where it's become more crowded than ever before? That's not going to happen. I mean, Microsoft could afford it. They have $109 billion cash on hand. Plus there's other way to get acquisitions, but that's not taking into account the $70 billion that they've put away for the acquisition, Activision acquisition. So yeah, I can't see this happening any way, shape or form. I don't think Microsoft should get into that business, that side of the business. They're never really been good at delivering consumer products. They've been much better at delivering on the software side of things, but
Yeah,
No,
well, look,
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement. I mean, we know it's not going to happen because they have the ABK situation going on. So come on, that's not even realistic. It's not going to happen yet. Not to say it won't happen in the future, though.
the thing is, it could
But-
monetarily. They could afford it. Like it's definitely a possible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Afford it.
They could afford it monetarily. I don't.
I'll see you all in the comments.
No, Colt Eastwood has fucking killed me. He's such a bitch.
Oh, for one time, just
He's
because of
like-
the Christmas
he
holiday, drop an F-bomb.
Yeah, he should, man. He literally comes in, goes Xbox. I'm like, what a fucking shill. Like, just comes and says Xbox, but he goes, has no games. It's just like, fucking bastard. The way he just crept in the chat, just dropped that, and then fucking left one dick.
I love him. I do love him. Look, we've got one more super chat, and then we've move on to the last topic of the day. It's something I kind of wanted to talk about. We kind of sort of covered it, but not really. Shooter with $10 super chat said he'd like to wish everyone from himself and his family a very Merry Christmas, and please stay safe. And this might be the time, guys. I did say I would do this, and this is the only time that I'll ever do this, but it is Shooter's birthday on the 28th of December. And so we did, well, I didn't make the promise, but I did okay it. It's okay to do it. Is this the time?
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Hold on,
Hey.
hold
Cutie.
on. Is Cutie back yet? Hold on. Cutie needs to
Cutie,
be,
jump on in.
Does she?
I'm the lead singer, though. It
Be
doesn't
right
matter
back.
if she's here or not. I'm
She
pretty
doesn't need to be
good.
here.
No,
She can miss it. Ready?
No, I'm
no,
just
she
joking. Come on,
definitely
Cutie.
needs to be here. I
Wow.
think she needs to be here.
There you go.
She ran straight back.
Slander gets her to jump on quicker.
I
that's all it is.
I ran across my house.
Ready?
Happy
2,
birthday,
3,
Shooter.
go.
3. Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday
Oh, Lord.
to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday, dear Shoe.
And this is why we don't sing. Happy
birthday.
to you. Happy
You
birthday,
need to say
Shooter.
Colt
If
Eastwood.
It was for Shooter, guys, not Phil. Give one
Even
shout out
told
for
us to
guys.
stop it.
Give one shout out for Shooter in that voice.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Look, happy birthday, Shooter, for the 28th. You are an absolute legend. He's been a long-time supporter and he's a moderator. We really appreciate, man, everything you do for the show, and we appreciate just your support that you've given us from day one. So thank you very much. That'll be the only time I allow singing on the show because
Thank you, brother.
I hate joy.
Happy birthday.
Anything to do with joy.
He does hate joy. I agree with this. It's true.
Look, we need to do a look back at 2022, a very, very brief look. There was some crazy shit that happened this year, and most of the highlights for me had nothing to do with games. Like, some of the games are pretty cool and stuff, but like some of the shit that went, like the Dr. Docs, that was the wake up in the morning, reading my Twitter and just going, what the hell did this dude just do? He literally doxed his own patient. There's some really interesting shit that went on in 2022. But I wanted to ask some other... I mean, PlayStation guys sent dick pics to developers, and it fucking worked. They got God of War. Like, I mean, should we all start sending dick pics to Xbox? I don't know if that's the thing to do, but I mean, Google Stadia died. But I think one of the questions that I wanted to ask the panel...
What are you talking about? What the fuck? Sorry, I tuned out a little there because I was looking at chat. And chat's killing me, and then I tuned back in, and I was like, and all I hear is, "Should we send dick pics to Microsoft?" I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
Happy birthday, Microsoft.
Well, no, but look, this is the turn of events, right? This is the sequence of events. PlayStation guys started complaining about God of War. They weren't getting God of War. Sent dick pics to developers. Got God of War.
Actually,
I mean, it's
dick
undeniable.
pics to a female developer. I don't think the men got them.
Oh, well, they should have.
Just saying.
What about
I think
feet
they got
pics?
them too.
I mean, feet pics isn't as egregious. Maybe that will help. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So I wanted to ask the panel because I really don't think they did. And again, it's not something that most people agree with. I think everyone on the panel does disagree. But I think they could have done more. I think they could have been more added to Game Pass. I don't think Game Pass did quite enough to offset the fact that they didn't provide us with any first-party games in 2022. Was it a bad year for gaming? I don't think so. I think it was a pretty good year for gaming. Not the best, but it was pretty good. But did Game Pass do enough? I don't think they did. Umbra, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, it's something for me, man, because if you all look at what my game, I guess my Xbox year review from Xbox Achievements, man, I played a ton of games, man. I think I played more this year than I did last year. So it's kind of crazy. Like, we didn't get the AAA games to really speak on outside of what God of War and Elden Ring that really moved us, because other games were disappointments, right? Like, what was the name of that game? Saints Row, for instance, stuff like that. So a lot of games were disappointments, but I will say the AA and middle ground AA that's near closing in on the AAA crowd games, those were actually really damn good, and it did carry the year for us. So I'm kind of torn. Obviously, I would have hoped to have some quality AAA games on top of what we got. But I will say I do agree with you, Risk. It does not excuse the lack of Microsoft adding some type of AAA third parties to it. But I will give them credit; they added a lot of quality games. So I'm kind of half and half. I appreciated what we got. I just want better for the brand going forward. I think 2023 has to be the year. We cannot have excuses. This year, I'm content. I'll say that much. That's my honest opinion on
You
it.
guys are talking about like it's like a bad ex, like it's like, just giving them time, like
Right. She'll come around.
Oh,
Trust
no,
me.
She never does.
Right.
Guys.
You made me feel sad the way you said it,
again.
guys. You made me feel sad.
I want to
Oh,
cry.
Doovie. Yeah. Doovie, I didn't even play Horizon Forbidden Rest, as he put it. I haven't even played it yet, bro. I honestly no interest in it. And by the way, Forspoken looks like trash. I played it and it's terrible.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, that's a caveat.
It's a caveat.
Yeah, look,
It had nothing to do with anything. I just want to throw it out there.
I did my True Achievements thing the other day, and it said that I played 70 games, 42 of which were all Game Pass games. It doesn't matter to me what first-party output they had, and we can all admit it was terrible in 2022, but I played 42 games, so basically a very easy monthly price, which I was going to pay anyway. That suggests to me that I had a really good year in gaming. It really, really does. And not to mention that Elden Ring is one of my top 5 games of all time. I put 307 hours into that game, a ridiculous amount of time, and I had so much fun doing it, and it brought a lot of the community together. I think Gaz said it was a niche game before that. It definitely isn't niche now. It was just such a great game. And then, Tunic was amazing. I also got to play Immortals Phoenix Rising on Game Pass, a big AAA hit that I was umming and ahhing about for ages, and then it came on Game Pass. So I had a great year of gaming. I really, really did. I expect better from Microsoft going forward, but this year was just fantastic for me. And not only that, the amount of friends that I got to verse with within the community really made the year for me. So thank you to everyone I game with. Had a lot of fun.
Pete, I have a question just on your True Achievements thing. I got a different. I couldn't see the metric about like whether the games were from Game Pass or not. Is that because you have you're subscribed to True Achievements?
No. I mean, everyone got something different. I think Umbra got the amount of hours that he played, and so I think they put there what looked the best, maybe. And I don't know why everyone's was different. Yeah, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's very
why it turned out
confusing.
that way.
Very confusing how they did that. But yeah, mine's was hours, which is like what was it, 2,000 or like 1,000, close to 2,000?
Yeah, you had over 2,000 hours in, mate. I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh my
and I had
God.
107 games played. 107 games played. I know I completed at least 50, and I had 470 hours in Halo, in which I know was more than that, by the way. And I know yours was more than that too, Pete. So they kind of cheated you.
Yeah, they
So
definitely
it's
did.
not fully reliant. Yeah.
Geet said to me yesterday that that's because I started the game in 2021, and that's why they didn't add that game in.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
makes some sense then. Okay.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
just to add to it, I do give that credit to, like you said, Pete, having met a lot of the friends we've met over the year. including you guys, like meeting all the people we've met, and you all turning out to be actually good people. That has mattered a lot, and has helped carry the year too. No doubt. And I stand by this where I say the Xbox community, I think, is the best community, even with our flaws. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Gaz is not in the Xbox community. He's a pony. So,
I am.
so
you know what?
Cultists who can't wait for Xbox 2028.
Are we sure Code is not a pony?
You know, I remember like I remember growing up, like it was really strange for I found in my particular generation for a girl to like video games and nerdy stuff. Like I loved Star Wars and stuff like that when I was in primary school, but I could never actually talk about it with anyone else. And it isn't until I've grown up and obviously the advancement of technology and social media and all that stuff, I found a place where I feel like I belong. And honestly, I'm so grateful to be here every day.
Yeah, look, absolutely as well. And I do want to speak on the communities, but just coming back to the question, Gaz, I want to go, do you think that Game Pass did enough to offset the fact that they did not provide any first-party games in 2022? Or should they have done more?
Well, it's easy to say they should have done more, but they've managed to ride the wave just about because they've had, I think, High on Life really kind of gave a big push to the community because it is genuinely a fun game. And it's also what's interesting is about people are unanimous in thinking that the vast majority of reviewers are completely out of touch as far as humor is concerned, because they all almost unanimously, I feel like by and large anyway, the majority actually didn't gel with the humor, but all of us knew what to expect with High on Life. So that massive divide and lack of reviews for the game, I just thought, so what's going on here? These reviewers aren't really on the ball, because we know what Squanch Games will deliver. Even if you didn't know what the studio did, the trailers made it abundantly clear. It was going to be a Rick and Morty first-person shooter with some decent, solid mechanics. And to be honest, it's more solid than I imagined it would be. It was actually great fun, and massive divide between reviewers and what everyone enjoyed. So it's quite interesting there. Are they aging? Are they is there a gap there? Because I think that exposed it. Or so few reviews, but if so, why? Why didn't you review a game? Because most reviewers disregarded it as important, whereas the community did the opposite. We were excited for it. And it smashed numbers, man. And do you know how significant that is for a game like High on Life? That just completely shatters the notion of this. Oh, it's the big guys that always come in here. You have that big release and they'll go. It just said the community disregarded reviewers. They played this game, a single player game on Game Pass, and this studio has been astonished by its growth to the point where it has now come out and said that they will always want to get their games on Game Pass, because it's just just broke the paradigm. That game blew up on Game Pass and it spilled out to Steam, and maybe a Steam audience was always there, I don't know. But it was just, they were feeding off each other. The game, everyone was enjoying it. But the reviewers and almost everyone I've talked to, I said, wait, what the fuck? Like, really? The game is great. So everyone, Colt never even watched Rick and Morty, and then he loved it. It's like, bro, this game's fucking brilliant. I'm like, yeah.
I'm the same, guys. I've never watched Rick and Morty, and I just wanted to say that it's the most played game outside first-person IPs on Game Pass. That just shows you how incredibly successful that game's become. And congratulations to Squanch Games, because it's a very, very fun game. And if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube. Xbox put out a video of a High on Life Yuletide log for the Christmas season. It's hilarious.
Yeah, look, I just want to address Gamers Watch in the chat there. You have to excuse me. Coming back from a a slight coughing fit. Look, Gamers Watch, that is something that I did a post about how it does show a massive divide between the community and the reviewers. And I don't subscribe to that fact. I kind of get what you're saying, and maybe I don't understand how reviewers review games. That's definitely possible. But to me...
No, but if what he says is true in the chat, then that's quite significant. If it's true, then it's... Well, if they gave them late review codes, that's why they didn't... Well, that's the reason why. Fine. Then basically the scarcity of reviews issue is solved. But even then, and now it's 31
but then
reviews.
Is it? Because
they got 31 reviews and they have a consensus. The score is the same. Look at the reviews. Just read them.
No, I will.
But the thing,
I wrote a review.
What did you give it? If you gave it anything less than 8, you're gonna get. That sounds weird. No.
You know what? Yes, my editor
content.
doesn't allow us to put numerical values on our scores. We just
That's good.
It's
that's
something
good.
that we don't do. But
wicked.
when I was reviewing it, like right at the beginning, I was like, "There's barely anything out on this," and so I did a little bit of research. And honestly, even the biggest companies didn't get codes like really early before its release. It was like 1 or 2 days. So that is correct, and I loved it. I think it's so much fun. I haven't finished it yet, but I think it's something that is so it's just fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's something so incredibly different, and go and play it. It's got a lot of swearing in it, so if you're not about swearing,
well, we're not afraid to give scores over this way. I gave the game an 8 out of 10. It deserves it, and I'm not mad if anybody give it a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair too. That still means it's a good game. You know, at least on my scale, it means good 7. And I think we've gotten to the point where now we're seeing 7s and such. And I know it comes from the PlayStation crowd. It's seeing a 7 or anything under a 9 is like, trash, you know, but no, a 7 is actually a good game. So I'm not mad at that, but I gave it an 8. I actually am a fan of Rick and Morty and that humor from Justin Roiland. So it appeals to me for that reason. And it's fun. It's a fun game. The humor hits for me. And it's not it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not so long that it's like, okay, hurry up and end. I think they have it. I think they got it just right, honestly. And I think it has, what I like about it is it leaves room for improvement and a sequel in a lot of ways. I think they can go as far as better control schemes, better gun control, as far as, the aiming, and things of that nature and improvements. I think it's a solid game. And I think the fans I think this is one of the things I think the reviewers got wrong this time. I think they get it wrong a lot of the time, honestly. But this one, I think, is so stark because you see them like, 60, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of it, to me, seems agenda-based. Like, I think...
we spoke about this last week.
Absolutely there is.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is it's on Game Pass. It's on Game Pass. Like, you're not paying for a full... you're not paying for a full price game. So just give it a go.
Which I do
people
think
try to write it off for that reason.
I do think that you
it's
should.
On Game Pass, so you got to give it a good. No, it's not why. Right? That's not why. It's actually a quality.
I do
game.
think that you should take that into consideration. I think if you're reviewing a game, the cost of the game, I think, is important to take into consideration. But the other thing that I wanted to say as well is going back to what Gamers Watch said. And look, you could use that as a reason. That's fine. But it's been on Game Pass. It's free. It's not free to play, but it's pretty much free to play. It's there for you to play. And I think it was a good week after release. Talking about like a 10 to 20 hour game, a week after release, there was still only 12 reviews. That to me is it does show a bit of a divide. It shows I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, bias. Shows a bias. It's like this
I don't
game.
hate to say it. I think it is.
Yeah, this game is not important enough for us to review because it's on Game Pass and because it's not a Sony exclusive. Now, the way I would say this is turn it around the other way. Say Sony hadn't sent out review codes until very late, and that has happened. Last of Us 2, till very, very late, and you will see hundreds of reviews like days after it's been released. And so why is there a disparity? Why is there this disparity?
I'll go further than I pointed out the whole issue when some of the reviewers pointed out the technical issues that High on Life had at first, right? But then remember, I pointed out, okay, so if that's your argument and that's why you marked it down for that, then what about Returnal, which literally bricked consoles and you all still gave it an 80 plus or whatever? So how did that work? So that's what I mean. Like the consensus definitely is skewed and biased in towards Sony. Had this game had released on Sony at the same time, on PlayStation rather at the same time, I don't think the scores would be as low, personally.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 110%. And I think that if you put it in that context, it definitely shows that bias. Yeah, again, I still personally don't think Game Pass did enough to cover their lack of first parties in 2022. But I think they did a good job. Now, say they had first parties, I think they did a pretty good job. I think that's about the kind of cadence you want to hit with the type of games that you want to hit. And I appreciate the fact that they have that kind of diversity throughout Xbox. They're not all the same type of games. Look at Vampire Survivors, like that hit and just absolutely smashed it out of the park.
And they Scorn, I think it was a moment. It had an impact. People were enjoying it despite the review scores. There's a game I will want to revisit and complete, but I think people downplay Scorn. I really enjoyed it, and it's in my backlog now. So I think it was a good year, man. I think it was being a little bit harsh on the Game Pass delivery because we look at it a bit through on the review score side, and I'm a bit guilty of this as well. So, but you really did enjoy those games, and they almost kind of dictated the airwaves for around about the same time as the PlayStation games, like God of War Ragnarok. Is anyone really talking about it? No, really. Are you seeing any chatter on it? It's like once or twice some fanboy or genuine fan will post a photo mode picture of it, but God of War noise it's not that long in compared to Elden Ring, weeks.
Yeah,
and
true.
Sustained interest. I've never seen anything like that on Twitter, and since then never seen it again. And God of War did not do that. But Rick and Morty is still in the eye line for people for quite some time, and I'm not trying to draw an equivalence there, but I'm just saying it's quite interesting that the metric is changing. Game Pass is changing that paradigm a little, and this kind of spits at the face of big AAAs for PlayStation as a counter, because it relies heavily on that. It's the Game Pass factor that's really adding pressure. So in that sense, I think if you're a competitor watching Xbox, despite its complete lack of AAAs, just watching Game Pass growth and then this noise and massive records, and you see this type of game growing with a comparative very little cost of development, and then you're thinking, what the hell is going on? Like, it's all about talent, and talent's veering towards Xbox sometimes. Oh, not sometimes, strongly, because of Game Pass. Indies are gravitating towards Xbox because of this. And the High on Life is very significant. That's double A indie. It's indie, that game, and that killed it. It's mad.
I think that prolonged period of time that it's on Twitter and on people's mindset is because they don't have to pay for the game gas. Like, so with God of War, most people will play it day one because they've outlaid that $70 cost. With High on Life, you don't have to play it day one because you know it's going to be there on Game Pass, and therefore it can be on there for a sustained period of time, up there on Twitter, in people's mindset, and then word of mouth gets around to how good the game is. I think that has something to do with it.
It's quite it's nuanced. That the game is a one and done for many, and it's a great game. But like 2018's God of War, that sent a massive wave of respect for this, and that permeated for quite a few months or entirety of that year, or ever since then, because God of War's held in high esteem. That's how Sony ended the gen, and then on top of that, throw the Ghost of Tsushima and all of that. Whatever, I don't know which one came out first. So yeah, man, it's complicated, man. It's just, there's a lot of conversations here to have. You could go on this massive tangent on what this means and how you market as well. So Game Pass is doing bits. When Microsoft said that Game Pass numbers have kind of hit their limit and they don't expect it to grow or be more than 15%. I think that was BS, because the moment you have these big games releasing, or especially Call of Duty, if that drops, that number is going to change. I'm seeing, I don't know, I did not think they would settle on 30, but I could see it being 60 easily. but they can do it if they have that. Well, I say easily. It's not easily. It's because it's done by releasing that steady stream they were promised of greatness. If they get into that cadence, then they will hit that mark. Why would you not subscribe to Game Pass? Are you averse to saving money? Because the experiences are so good, you cannot ignore them from the multitude of different studios, depending on what their roadmap is. And this is all theoretically I'm talking about. So then, it could be 60 million if Microsoft hits that cadence and changes the paradigm. Then Game Pass is crazy. So like I'm right now seeing these examples of successes and I view Game Pass as very healthy, but it must have 2023's backing, because you're running coasting on the goodwill because it's still great value, but that's not going to happen if you don't have those exclusives next year. So that's why it's even doubly critical. You don't undo what I think is still an upward motion in terms of momentum for Xbox Game Pass. So keep
100%
sustaining
agree.
that, then deliver. That could hurt Game Pass or could make Game Pass.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
100% agree with that. Sorry to cut in the risk. I just want to say, like, that's why I think some of us are so passionate as we have been, guys, is because it's like we know the promise of what's to come is there. We see it, but it feels like Xbox is slipping up here and there where we felt they were kind of going the right direction. And it's like they take 2 steps forward just to take a step back at times. That's what it feels like. So you're right. Once the cadence of first party start hitting the way they should, man, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, and like
it could be crazy. Yeah, that's how I say it. Yeah,
as long as they're quality games, right? And I trust these developers. Honestly, I do. I think they're going to deliver some great stuff. I think this is a 360 golden revision right here for coming next year. Personally, and like our brother Pam pointed out, Game Pass has been the greatest part of Xbox this year. There's no argument there. You know what I mean? It's just that we haven't had the first party games to necessarily hit as much as we want. Now, I will give love to Pentiment and, of course, As Dusk Falls, which I loved both, by the way. Just to show, just to give.
I mean, no,
really
it's good.
Did.
What?
I really did love them, but those are not going to cut it as far as what we signed up for. For Game Pass for. We still want those AAA games. We still want first party to deliver as well as the third party. Even though I do side with Pete on having good quality third party does kind of offset the thing if you were a Game Pass subscriber. It doesn't. I mean, you didn't sign up, and I mean, Lemon, good friend of the show again, Lemon from 108 Dragons, says you didn't go out and buy. He didn't say it in the chat. He just says this many times. You didn't go out and buy yourself a Series X to get a choose your own adventure book. I mean, he doesn't say it like that, true. But that's the facts, man. You bought it to see what to get games from the first party that would push the hardware. So they need to do that. You're right.
Yeah,
it's true.
Has to be done. Man.
Somerville for me, Hawk. By the way, Bobby Hawk. Somerville was not that good to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was kind of like average. Honestly, to me, it like paled in comparison to their previous games.
Absolutely. I thought it was okay. I still haven't finished it, to be honest. But I'm just going to move through these super chats, then we'll probably wrap it up for the show. Got a couple of really good questions. Really good questions, actually. Gamers Watch, I just wanted to bring this up. He said, funnily enough, about that doctor, he's talking about Dr. Docs. The day before he did what he did, this wasn't a question, but I thought it was funny. He said he spoke to him about not taking Twitter so seriously, and Dr. Docs said, don't worry, I have a plan. And we all know how that went. That's a great plan. Spinal 11, good friend of the show. That's Mark. He said, hello, guys, from the Just Gaming podcast. Head over there and check that out. Those guys are hilarious. He said, hello, guys and girls. Are you saying High on Life would have had more reviews if it was a PS exclusive? Yes, I'm 110% saying that, and it would have. I don't think anyone could argue that. And also, he sent us some lovely feet pics in the Discord. Thank you very much, Mark. Champion. Hi, I'm Sales with the $4.99 super chat. Says, anyone that complained about the humor in High on Life clearly don't know Justin Rowland, and that's true, man. If you don't like the humor, you shouldn't be reviewing the game. I don't think.
Welcome Cells to the Series family. She said she got a Series S for Christmas. So
nice!
Congratulations, early Christmas present. And then Assassin asked a really good question. And this kind of goes to the bias. So I'll just say again, after what I think about the bias and how it's come about, I don't think it's intentional, really. I think in some instances it may be intentional, but in other ways it's just being a media outlet. Assassin said, do you think it should be a mandatory for publishers to always give review copies to critics so there's no fear of blacklisting or encouragement to give a good score? Now we know that Survivor was blacklisted by PlayStation. Now that creates an inherent bias, and the way it does that is other media outlets will see that happen. And they don't want it to happen to them because, as someone so succinctly put in the chat, clicks is what they live off, right? In the media, they love that stuff. They need the clicks to get the money. That's what it's all about. And so if they don't have those early review copies, if they don't have the first, they're not first there, it creates a bias because, but you know, they're worried about losing their access. And if you're worrying about that whilst you're writing a review, can you write a genuine review? I don't really think you can. I think if you have to step around things, be careful about how you write a review, it creates an inherent bias. I'll go to you guys in the panel and see what you guys think about that. Do you think, I really do think it should be a forced thing. If we're going to have these early review copies, should be for everyone. Pony Eastwood in the chat there. Should be for everyone. And there should be no blacklisting. What do you think, Gaz? Do you think that publishers should be forced to hand out those review copies to the major media outlets with no fear of blacklisting?
Blacklisting, I don't know, man. Ultimately, the quality of the reviews is important, right? So how do you achieve that? Give every reviewer ample time to actually review the game. Now, you're talking about punitive measures against publishers, and okay, fine. Ultimately, yeah, you can do that. But it's a bit of a weird, in terms of custom, it's a bit weird. I still find that it's a bit weird. Like, it's a creative space, and you're, but yeah, it's like any other industry, but there's something about the creative space. You should respect them more as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about blacklisting. There's a lot more nuance to it, which I haven't considered, so I can't state a position.
Yeah, look, it is a tough one. It is a tough one, but we know Survivor came out and said that Sony has blacklisted them for unfavorable reviews. It wasn't just one; it was a few in a row.
Sorry, apologies. You're talking about blacklisting from the publisher. Then, yeah. Oh, mate, do you know how rife that is? That's really bad. Sorry, I thought you meant a movement by publications to blacklist reviewing a game.
No. What Assassin's asking is he's asking, should they be publishers basically be stopped from blacklisting media outlets and providing review copies to major media outlets?
But they have to have an established base of reviews that they will consider. And how do you assess that? Perhaps Metacritic or something, or IMDb, I don't know, whatever, for that. So that's another facet of that thing, because people take advantage of that and then pressurize Sony companies to release review codes to fraudulent characters. You know how many frauds there are that successfully get codes pretending to be us? It's really bad that publishers, we have to put a sticky, like we barely ask for review codes. I don't even do it now. It's just like I gave up. Because you can tell in the responses when you get, like, Halo, the official Twitter has blocked me. They don't follow me. And they gave us a review code because I've been very scathing of the company's handling of things. So boom, they blocked me. That's brilliant. But I'm like, okay, that was weird. But punitive measures against things, absolutely. These guys, but once you have an agreed consensus of who constitute reviewers and have a fair policy of updating that, then why not? Because publishers do take the piss. The reviews do not reflect the wider view if you're only giving it to playing favorites. And we know they play favorites. We know Sony has done that. You've got examples of them being called out, having punitive measures against, was it GameSpot or someone else for a bad review? Like, there was based on the review of a game that they subsequently took that measure, and it happens all the time. Microsoft will, I feel, with the PR agency that we talked about, as soon as I requested Forza, I got it straight away, and Halo straight away responses. Now nothing's silent, and I'm like, oh, okay, and that's how they deal with that. And Sony, the same. Sony, I know, had a direct contact for them who deals with that, a direct contact. And they talk about, can I see your channel? They saw the channel, and then boom, said, it just doesn't work. Like, we'll reconsider the next time, because we have a website. It's not just a YouTube channel. We have a gaming platform sunk 100 grand into. I mean, there's not a little baby play that we're making, but there's still because they play it on lines, on bias. I'm not exaggerating. So, and I'm talking about these publishers who will go that far. And part of you can understand, maybe they want to cherry pick who they think are trusted, but really it's not based on trust. It's based on who will give them a favorable review. It's very bad practice. It's very bad practice. There should definitely be punitive measures on that, because all reviews are bullshit otherwise, or they get corrupted.
The
Exactly.
market's so crowded
There's
as
a lot
well,
there.
Gaz.
Yeah.
I
that-
will. I
but
will
it's hard
say.
not to pick and choose for the publisher because, and it's not fair and it's not right. But who do you choose to give those copies to?
Exactly. Who do you choose?
And yeah, do you choose the big like publications like IGN, GameSpot, and that's it, or do you give it to people that I would go to like SkillUp or ACG?
Mhm.
I mean, it's just very difficult to determine who you're going to give them to. And I just don't think it works. I don't think you can forcibly make them do that. I think that you go to the source of information that you trust most, and that's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
I will-
look, there is definitely an inherent bias just based on the fact that people can and will get blacklisted based on their reviews and or their perceived bias. Cutie, definitely want to go back to you because I know that you wanted to say something on this because you do work for a publication that does review games.
Yes, I mean, I would say I volunteer. I don't get paid. But I will say, so first off, PR companies, they're constantly changing who like the contacts are. I'm sure you're aware of that, Gaz. So potentially, if you got blocked by the social media manager of whatever, whatever Twitter you've been blocked by from whatever game, they might have just forgotten. I don't know. I'm trying to be positive here. I'm trying to be positive.
Don't know why. It's no big deal.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is some people might not know. So there's a lot of turnaround in staff that are the contacts for that manage the giving out of codes and things like that. So sometimes like 1 week I'll be talking to one person, but then it might change in a month's time. So, you know, that's something also to take into account. And if you don't get like forwarded on, like if you don't get passed on to the next person, sometimes that can be difficult in regards to contacting them. Also, I will say though, a lot of the time there is a lot of pressure to like get this stuff out. Like there's a lot of you're competing to get the clicks and all of that. So yes, getting a code before something comes out is obviously like ideal. But I mean, this was on Game Pass, so I mean, you know, anyone can review it, really. Exactly
my point. And a week after the fact, and there's still only 12 reviews. Yeah, that to me. Yeah, and look, I completely agree with everyone's take on the whole bias thing. But as soon as you blacklist someone, it creates an accidental bias almost, because people are like, whoa, we want to be careful. I mean, why? Cutie, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know what the reason is, but my assumption for the reason that Goa doesn't use, put numbers to their reviews is partly because they do not want to upset anyone who's handing out codes to them whilst they're reviewing.
That's not true.
Well,
we're encouraged to be critical as much as possible. So when I received the code for Dakar Desert Rally, I was very honest in review of that game.
Right.
But they say that, but they don't give you all a chance to score them. So how critical can you actually be? You just give a scathing words? I don't think that fits for me. And most people don't even read.
I know
stuff
people.
nowadays.
I think it's to encourage people to actually read.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. But my thing is, that's why so many people hate Pentiment, by the way. Like the people don't have time to read like that. That's why scores matter. And no matter what people might say, they matter. They give you a quick context to look at something and be like, oh yeah, okay, this is worth the time. This is not. At least if it's from a trusted person. There's only so many people who can kind of, gather something by saying it's recommended versus it's not recommended. Like you all love SkillUp. He's one of those people, right? People have built that trust with. But in general, people love seeing scores. They do. They really do. And I don't think that's ever going to go away.
Yeah,
personally.
Absolutely. I mean, I like the way SkillUp does things. But look, we're going to wrap the show. We've got two more, or one more comment, and then we'll wrap the show and do outros because we are really getting on. It's been a bit of a long show, and I'm conscious that Gaz is probably like.
You don't give a shit. It's 2 hours 40 minutes. And you didn't give a shit. The whole fucking long show goes. Oh, and I'm conscious of the time. Fuck you. You're not conscious of anything.
Well, we thank Gaz for sticking with us. Spine11 with the $5 super chat says, "Just use Kotaku for reviews. They are the highest unbiased reviews and news. Did I mention that they're quality?"
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. Kotaku, sorry, is the one that I love to use.
Quality is their middle name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gaz, thank you for sticking with us for the entirety of the 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It was a fun time. Wicked time. Thank you for the invite. It was really good.
Really appreciate you coming on, man. And look, if you want to find Gaz, I'm sure most of you know where to find him, but he is linked in the description, and that includes the site, the Game On Daily site, and the YouTube channel. Gaz, let people know what you're up to. You got a source video in the works. What's in the future for you?
Yeah, so I've got Xbox's next move video, which I've been meaning for a while, but now the FTC thing makes it even more relevant. So I'm making a video that will release tomorrow, hopefully, talking about what Xbox can do if the deal falls away or is significantly delayed. And then I've got a source video that will destroy the collective anuses, that's the plural of anuses, Xbots, who literally simped like PlayStation guys, and I'm like, you go and get it now. So that source video is going to be something special. I'm going to go nuclear on that one.
I honestly cannot wait to see that. It's going to be awesome. I will definitely be in that.
Before you go to the next person, Gaz, you feel like giving us a little Christmas carol before you head off, and we move to
my fucking days.
No,
hell yeah.
Definitely not. Definitely.
No, I won't do it.
No.
I won't do it.
Look,
Riskit, the killer of fun.
Yep, I am the killer of joy. Joy does not live here anymore. DoomCutie, another fantastic show. Let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, what your plans are for Christmas.
My Christmas is actually going to be really quiet this year. So yeah, I don't really have any like big super big family plans, but yeah, I do hope everyone has a lovely Christmas, and if you get a console or games for Christmas, I hope you do if you don't have one. But yeah, thanks so much to the chat, and Gaz, you're awesome, but you already know that, so I don't have to say.
He does.
Thank you very much.
He knows it. JediKnightPeter, another person who thinks he's awesome but is wrong. Another fantastic show, man. We appreciate you every week come through. Man, it's been over a year now. Man, it's been a crazy ride. And one thing I will say is the community has been absolutely fantastic. And yeah, man, another great show. Thank you for coming along and giving us your takes every show. And now rambling. Do your outro.
Well, I was going to say Merry Christmas to you, but I'll say Merry Christmas to everyone else except you. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat today. It was awesome. Congratulations to Bloodwolf and Paul AFC. We'll get the games to you guys as soon as possible. Dreaming.
Oh my! I'm getting the mute button out.
What is happening?
Just like the ones I used to know.
He's
I've
muted.
never seen a white Christmas.
Pete's muted. Do I have to
Yeah,
mute him?
there we go.
Merry
Good work,
Christmas, everyone.
Good work.
Cannot
Proud of
wait
you.
for next year. Have a safe, happy Christmas, and a very safe and happy New Year's and prosperous New Year's. We will see you guys next time.
Bah humbug. Umbra, another fantastic show. Fire show. Christmas Eve show. Yes, I am the ghost of Christmas hate.
Scrooge McBiscuit.
Let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, what you're up to for Christmas, and how things will be going for you next week.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's
like
the
that
best
one.
time of. I don't
Unless
know.
you're an Xbox fan.
I'm still muting and checking to see if
Yeah.
he's there. He is. He's
Yeah.
back. Yep.
Told you we'd get it out there, guys. I told you we would.
Yeah.
Just you guys can find me on Twitter, of course, on the Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. And of course, on Tuesdays on Boom Show, the Xbox Factor at 12 Eastern. And of course, here at the home where I started, well, secondarily where I started, and copyright fighting me and Riskit are doing right now over the name of the show. Xbox Infinite, you guys can find us on Fridays, of course, come through at 7 Eastern. And I just want to give a thanks and shout out to Gas for joining us on this. We were waiting to get you on the show for a while, brother. And what better way than to kind of cap off the year? I think Jedi got jealous of my singing and left again.
His ears were bleeding. Yeah.
yeah. No, but we really appreciate you joining us, brother. And love to my host and co-host. You guys have always been the best for, we've had a solid year. Honestly, it's been a really good year as far as the podcast and making friends in the community and such. And love again to the Xbox community, and most of all, you all in the chat who've come through to support us all this time. We really appreciate you guys. Much love, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or whatever you celebrate. And if you have gifts to give us, consider me first. They don't want it.
Look, I will just say I don't normally do an outro for myself, but I will say for me the highlight of the year, which I didn't really talk about through that topic, was the community has been absolutely awesome. I've loved the PlayStation fans and despots that have attacked me. You've given me a ridiculous amount of chuckles. So thank you to you guys. And the Xbox community that has rallied around the show, and just all together, and all the people we've met, all the people we've interacted with, the people that come here, the people that don't come here, all the podcasts that go on. It's just a wicked scene to get into. And I really enjoyed this year. It had been a rough year for me. Going back 2020 was a really rough time. Going through these last couple of years, things are starting to get better. So you guys have really helped me through. I have said it before, but you guys really, really have helped me through, every single one of you, except for Bobby Hawk. You're just a piece of shit pony. No, he's a good guy. And look, we've loved every single one of you guys. And thank you for coming along every week and hanging out with us. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share us out. And just again, we really appreciate your support. Merry Christmas to everyone. And that pains me to say it because I am Scrooge McRiskit. Much love to everyone. We are out.